And when she voted and came back to me, I thank God I was born an American. Today I saw 9 jurors sitting under my voice, 15 jurors sitting under my voice, 9 of them returning a verdict of not guilty against a powerful government that wanted to be destroyed. That day, I thank God I was born an American. Thank you. So, gentlemen,
this is your code. Take possession of it. As the representative said, we want to see you collaborating and cooperating and making sure that you make use of the court. Respect the judges. When you receive a paper from the court, don't say that challenge it. Come to the court and tell the court this is my reason. Don't refuse. People have a habit of burning government property down. This, I hope, will not happen here. Anybody attempting to burn court or police station while I'm teaching, we are not going to establish new player for you. But I can tell you that you will not come back to your people on their leave. We will make sure. Confusion is everywhere. Every society, government, got good and bad people. There are a lot of good people in the country, but there are a lot of bad ones too. Prophet Key is an example. They spoiling the good name of Nima people, they spoiling the good name of people from Sabata district. In our society, nobody abuses women court. If you do it in the town and you are a man, the man discipline you. If you do it as a woman, the woman discipline you. But unfortunately, we have one child from a mother who decided to live with abusing women. Today we like this is your code. Take possession of it. As the representative said, we want to see you collaborating and cooperating and making sure that you make use of the court. Respect the judges. When you receive a paper from the court, don't say that challenge it. Come to the court and tell the court this is my reason. Don't refuse. People have a habit of burning government property down. This, I hope, will not happen here. Anybody attempting to burn court or police station while I'm teaching, we are not going to establish new player for you. But I can tell you that you will not come back to your people on their leave. We will make sure. Confusion is everywhere. Every society, government, got good and bad people. There are a lot of good people in the country, but there are a lot of bad ones too. Prophet Key is an example. They spoiling the good name of Nima people, they spoiling the good name of people from Sabata district. In our society, nobody abuses women court. If you do it in the town and you are a man, the man discipline you. If you do it as a woman, the woman discipline you. But unfortunately, we have one child from a mother who decided to live with abusing women. Today we like you, you will remain there until otherwise the time is completed. Then last week, his parents, people from the town came to me and gave me cola and white chicken. They say when somebody abuses an old lady like your mind, 90+ years old, they say, okay, we come to plead with your mind. I took it. But I told them from the key we serve his chain. They said, I don't want to kill him. That's the kind of person I am. But the issue that society is disciplined. The answer of this gabble is to get justice or is to discipline society. When you are wrong, you will be wrong. When you are right, you will be right. Make use of the court.
Any child Nima who go on the radio and say anything about me, I will not say anything to him. Because there's virtue in silence. Sometimes you go very out of emotion, you talk something. When you leader, you gotta take time to talk because words are bullet. When you speak there, don't come back. And so I can show you the errors. You hear me talking, it means then you're not car. We in a room, and I'm talking in our room. Other than that, they will, everybody slam my ears, sir. I will leave it because their job is a package. You see the convoy I can't wait? And the good thing inside. You know the bad thing inside, they will cause you. They will cause your man. They will do. So it's a package and you're enjoying the convoy too, you're taking the man too. Everything going together. You gotta be managing it.
party. In no time, everybody now, they have Harvard ambition. You know, some people say they want to be speaker, they want to be deputy speaker, some want to be president. How can you be a minister in the government? So what have you seen? Are you not convinced that the woman will be re-elected as a bona fide United Party partisan? When this woman is re-elected, you have space in the government if you're doing well? Because if the government is re-elected, you got job. So why you want to go fight for one district seat? That means something not right. And the president needs to hear this. Those that in the cycle of the president, he must begin to test out those that want to be representatives, senators, president, while he's serving as president. And I will say this again, they will get at me. Meaning you don't believe in this government, you do not believe in this president job that he's doing. You fake it. So those that are in this category, they must be put to check. Let us go and do their work so that the government can shine. So the government can be respected by the Liberian people, so they can be re-elected, somebody can get a job. But
you spoke about reconciliation. Does that mean that you're going to reach out to your friends like Thomas Fala, Sir Joseph, and the rest of other people that left your party?
Well, reconciliation doesn't mean that you're going to go look for individual. Reconciliation means that we must understand that we all can live together, we can work together in our party. So reconciliation in our party, it got nothing to do with other people's party. Those that we're reconciling is the people that have issues in our party.
That's why the biggest investment we had is $500 up to $1 billion worth of drugs that they are facilitating and bringing in. But you see what we're doing? We're not doing drug business here. This is serious business. There's a lot of money. This is serious commitment.
The whole world will go to the courthouse on that day. Oh, the day they take on the court, the President Boyka believe that a CDC headquarters you moving to, or you are recording, or you moving to go arrest for Natikofa, you making a mistake. He himself will not sit down rehab. I can tell you that for sure. He himself will never sit down rehab. I've been playing with you, Jesus. I'm telling you why I know you do. Boyka, I want you to look in my face. This is a Carlos Gray of 2005 and 2011. When I spoke of Liberia and we were now with a bike, I voluntarily decided that we will lead and help this PR arm of the CDC. Not only that, the militant brigade of the CDC, like Unity Party formed a militant brigade during the 2023 election. That militant brigade and battle cry men will reactivating everything, will stand up for our rights. This will be the last of it. I take full responsibility for any application in the court.
Police will just move in.
What police? Judas, the police. Not me, the police. No, let me tell you this. Judas, do you think the police want to take care of the entire Monrovia, in every quarter of Monrovia? Do you know the number of police? Do you know the number of police in Liberia? Judas, we shouldn't reach that level, but I can guarantee you that President Boyka dare not go there. And never ever will he go there. I can tell you that. When I sit there for our hand, look at Joseph Boyka. Let me tell you for your project and give it to your wife. And she just launched a $30 million project program. $30 million. Okay, I listened to her when she went Gambia for the First Lady Conference. She spoke about that. Now I'm going to build a play for $30 million. So when we come to power, we should take Ottoman Boyka Foundation. When we come to power, we should take Joseph.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerome Gayman. Welcome to our Friday edition of the closing argument. We are going to do a weekend review from Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. We're going to open the line for us to talk, give you the opportunity to let us know what's on your mind. Before then, please do us a favor, share the show. Get involved. Let us know where you are tuning in from.
so we can send a shout out to all our friends and families in your neck of the woods. Today is a great Friday here in the state of Florida. We are having a great time. The weather is beautiful. The skies are clear. 91 degrees outside. It's sunny. I'm about 5 blocks away from the ocean, from the beach. I can sit here and see a lot of movement, beautiful country, beautiful people, beautiful city. Welcome to this edition. Let us get going. Let's look at what are trending in the Republic of Liberia. There's a lot of news. A lot that is trending. We'll be talking about. Let's scan the newspapers in Liberia and see what they are saying, what their reporters are saying about happenings in the Republic. On one of the newspapers, it says Prophet Key walks free. Says prison experience rehabilitated him after 6 months contempt sentence. We are quoting Prophet Key. Another newspaper, while Prophet Key's 6-month sentence had not guaranteed his freedom. He spent 6 months in jail. He walked out after 6 months, but he's still not a free man. We're going to discuss that. On the front page of another paper, President Joseph Boyka signs the poor decentralization bill in the middle of the biggest drug crisis in the country. President Boyka signed the poor decentralization. His veto, his more famous veto, now reversed in the middle of crisis. A year ago, the president said breaking up Liberia's port will risk the country's maritime security. This week, with a mysterious vessel case still unresolved and the cocaine scanner reaching his own drug chief, he signed the bill anyway and left the question of who's watching the new ports. Got some investigative journalists that are asking the tough questions. The Liberian investigators on their front page, it says how the information ministry is being used to attack government critics. My friend, I told you this is by design. They are using Daniel Sano's mouth to chew the hot peppers. The things they want to say that they cannot say. Use the deputy minister to do their dirty work. That's on the front page of the Liberian investigators. This is a conversation we have had for over several years. Finally, lawmakers freeze the payments on the U.S. $116 million Roberts International Airport Highway over the recent audit. The lawmakers have frozen payments on the $116 million RIA highway over the most recent audit. The well-arrived generals now have Boyka's defense ministry, NSA and LDAA. Here we go. President Joseph Nyenwolo has turned to the military establishment he inherited from his predecessors to rescue Liberia's troubled drug agency, putting the country's anti-narcotic fight in the hands of officers who occupy security posts during the very years his government says major drug trafficking network took place. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something in the American social parlance. They say karma is a bee. It's like a boomerang. When you throw it to somebody, it usually comes back to you. It said Liberia's war on drugs has been handed to the general who ran George Weah's army, completing a transfer from the Defense Ministry, the Armed Forces, the Intelligence Service, and now to the Anti-Narcotic Agency of a government elected to replace Weah in the hands of the officers that Weah made and promoted. The Liberian culture products. President Joseph Nyenwolo announced late August 10th that retired General, Major General Dahn D. Ziaka Jr., his military advisor and Weah's defense minister for 6 years, would take over the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. He named Precious Rule Deputy Director General for Operations in Prince Moruba, and Prince Moruba Deputy Director General for Administration. All three assumed duty in an acting capacity until the Senate reconvenes. Ernest Tappe, an outgoing deputy, returns to the National Security Agency, where the director is retired Major General Prince C. Johnson III. We have Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia. In the same announcement, Walker suspended Fitzgerald T.M. Biago indefinitely from the Liberia National Police over what the executive mansion called ethical concern after a Ministry of Justice investigation that did not establish that Biago was involved in trafficking. Biago had run the LDA as officer in charge since August 2025. At the single commissioner ceremony, Salih promoted Ziaka to Major General as Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, made Prince C. Johnson III Deputy Chief of Staff with the rank of Brigadier General, and made Davidson Fayad Foley Commander of the 23rd Infantry Brigade with the rank of Colonel. Those three men today, the Director General of the Drug Agency, the Director of the National Security Agency, and Chief of Staff of the Army. Weah's contribution was to move each of them up one rank. He retired Ziaka from the Army in January 2018 and made him Minister of National Defense. He elevated Johnson to Chief of Staff, confirmed by the Senate on February 6, 2018. In March 2018, he nominated Geraldine Janet George as Deputy Chief of Staff, the first woman to hold such position, and commissioned her as a Brigadier General at that time in June. For the next 6 years, the top three uniformed and civilian defense positions in Liberia were held by Ziaka, Johnson, and George. All three now serve Buakai. George is Minister of National Defense. confirmed by the Senate on April 30th, 2024. The first woman to hold the office, Fole, the Colonel Sally Pin, at the 23rd Infantry Brigade, is Chief of Staff of the Army. Johnson has the intelligence service. Zianka has drugs. All three now serve the president of this administration, who once said that the entire George Weah government was rotten, unqualified. Today, he's reaching back to that administration and bringing them in finally to rescue the rescuer. This continuity run through the institution in the United States, spent 2 decades rebuilding after the war. Zianka and Johnson were included into the U.S. Army Command General Staff 2012. George was inducted at the same institution on April 9, 2026. The Armed Forces of Liberia has been paired with the Michigan National Guard under the State Partnership Program for 15 years. Ziaga, accepting his induction, said American mentorship have rebranded the Liberian National Military. We will discuss life. We have always said, never burn the bridge that crossed you. The bridge that crossed you over that river should never be burned. You just may need it when your life depends on it. And today, President Joseph Yuma Boycott and his administration are eating crow. The very people that they consider incompetent. In fact, in one of his speeches, he said the reason the administration was failing is because the Liberian people gave the cutlass of the town that belongs to men to a boy and his cohorts. We return to the front page Africa, and they say after 35 years, Liberia reopens embassy in India. Obviously, the Liberian National Police intensifies search of Monrovia Central Prison amid cocaine discovery. Hey, this drug thing has permeated our community at every level, even from the rehab center. This prison system in Liberia is supposed to be a rehabilitation center where men and women go to be rehabilitated and return to our society. If the cocaine has made it into the very prison where dealers are supposed to go to spend their time, only tells you that the cartel and its tentacles are everywhere. The court finally sets Prophet Key free after 6 months in prison. We will discuss that. Is he really free? Is the Republic of Liberia violating his constitutional right? Freedom of speech, freedom of movement. life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Is Liberia a law and order country? Or is it a country where might makes right? If you are mighty, if you are strong and you have the power, you are never wrong. Like in the case of Chief Justice Beze, putting a powerless poor guy in prison, a sentence that calls for 30 days. He made it 6 months. With no chance of appeal, infringing on his First Amendment right. And now, subsequently, his ability to freely move within the country. Is he actually free? We will discuss. The Liberian Army, the AFL, finally figured it out that we need more women. The Liberian Army, the AFL, after 2 decades, they are just figuring out that we need more females. For men and women that went to school in the United States, many of you, some of you play sports, there is a law in this country called Title IX. It says whatever we do for the boys, we have to do for the girls. So we have to do all we can to recruit, to fund, to equip our women equally as we do the men. So they go out and spend as much money, sometimes more, to balance for the good of society, for the common good. So if it means that we are going to recruit women and put together a developmental squad where women can go through the ROTC, learn the rules of the game, learn to beef up their body, to be physically fit and physically strong, to do that. You think with all these men and the credentials they are talking about, they went to school in the United States, they were immersed, they were actually paired with the American system. The whole while they were here training, they were only training from all indications, they were training to beef up their own resume to secure their job. But they never observed anything else outside of their own interests. You think Ziaka and Prince Johnson and Rue or whatever the other folks are, George, they would have thought, listen, in the United States, the women are as equally competent and qualified and trained to be women, to be armed men and women. We are going to institute the exact replica. We need more women. No. Geraldine George was happy to be the only woman in that group. I like the NAACP's motto. It's a lift as you climb. while you are climbing the ladder of success, never forget to reach back and pull other people up. Reach down, pull them up. Reach deeper, pull them up. That's what a learned woman and learned man would do. But it looks like in Liberia, we are contented with being the first and only. I am the only woman. I am the first woman. I was the first woman. I am the first woman. Whether you like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf or not, she has empowered more women, more girls to follow in her footsteps. She has done more for women than any other president that I know of. She even set up a foundation for women. So why then has a Brigadier General, Geraldine Josh, since she's been part of the military, what female cadet program she has instituted at that level? She's at the highest level. We will discuss. If you were walking on Capitol Hill or in that vicinity, across the street, you will see and hear and smell the filth, the eyesore, that place they call the University of Liberia. It is still there. The University of Liberia mandates its faculty to return to teach. The faculty look at the president and laugh. Nope, nope, nope. Not only did they refuse to return to the classroom, they laughed at the president, call her persona non grata. You are not welcome. You know, the reason I love the closing argument, our audience, they are so educated and so smart. I think we should be the hiring agency for the Liberian government so we can have some smart, critical thinkers there. Let me read what Ms. Jean Borrow just said. Said, Mr. Gayman, sometimes when you reach back and pull them up, it doesn't always work, though. Sometimes they end up getting you dragged down into the pit. With them. So you need to elaborate on how to find the balance. She has issue with my analysis. What I was quoting with the NAACP. The National Negro Fund says their motto, they say, lift as you climb. It is mandatory that when Pewee makes it, he has to look back. If he's from Kolahon, he has to have a legacy. He has to have something that will show that Pewee once walked on this earth. He left his mark. They are not saying he should lift every voice and sing, but lift somebody. We understand that even people in your own midst, your own family, will fight you harder than anybody else. But nevertheless, you still have to do your best to leave your mark. Will someone try to pull you down? Yes. Should you be discouraged when the first person tries to bring you down? No. You just soldier on. Let me welcome the Honorable Sylvester Pewee. Welcome to the show, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a very it's a pleasing duty to be back on the show this evening.
But it's a weekend review, week in review. We want to go back from Monday, but it looks like we're going to go back 5 months because the drug thing is it's not going anywhere. And I like the way that people are persistent. That everything that happened will not happen. But let me go quick over some of the things that are trending in Liberia. The Prophet Q walked free. He admits that the prison experience has rehabilitated him after 6 months. We will put that to a test. Then on the front page, I will say, while Prophet Q's 6 month sentence has not guaranteed his freedom, he may be walking. But what are the caveats in his release? Remember, they said not only will you serve 6 months, but you pledge and agree that you will never curse again. This is why Front Page Africa said he's out of the prison, but his release does not guarantee his freedom. We will delve into that. Then on Front Page Africa, the second page is the President Walker signed the port decentralization bill in the middle of the biggest drug bust. Then they go on to say, a year ago, the Liberian president said breaking up Liberia's port will risk the country's maritime security. This is the president. That was his analysis. This week, with a mysterious vessel, case still unresolved and a cocaine scanner reaching his own drug chief, he reversed himself and signed the bill anyway. Yesterday, I quoted Machiavelli. He said, a leader who delays action is basically an opportunity for failure, because when opportunity comes, you got to be decisive and you have to be swift. Here we are when the president said our borders are porous. The maritime security is fragile. We cannot and will not do that. In the middle of this major drug bust, with everything hanging, the president signed and reversed himself. Yesterday, we touched on this one. It's on the front pages of the Liberia Investigator, how the information ministry is used as an attack dog against government critics. We mentioned it here that this was by design. Daniel Sano is being pushed by some of the biggest names doing that dirty job. The Liberian man said, don't use my mouth to chew your pepper. Daniel Sano's mouth is being used to chew all the pepper from everybody. If you don't like Honorable Pewee, you want to curse him, but you don't want to say it, you go tell Daniel Sano to go back, go curse that man. That's what they are doing. And this is what the paper is saying. How the information ministry is used to attack government critics. And finally, the last time, Honorable Pewee said this here about, give us a little history about the RIA highway. He gave us a history about that. Finally, The lawmakers of the Republic of Liberia have frozen payment on the $160 million RIA highway over the most recent audit. This is it. We are not saying anything that is not written. It's right here. The Senate has frozen all expenditure going to the $160 million RIA highway. I think what Honorable Pewee who said the highway may not be finished until 2030 or 2019. When we tell you these things, that while we are here, especially the closing arguments, always fact-based, very analytical. And when we tell you so now we have been vindicated here, we are not talking about gossip. And then I think Honorable Pewee will have an interest in this. The George Weah generals are now coming to the rescue. They are now heading Waka's Defense Ministry, NSA, and LGEA. This is the government that this president said they were so incompetent, they knew nothing. Today, the entire George Weah defense, from Zianga to Prince Johnson to Geraldine, they're all back. The president called upon them to come and rescue the rescuer. We will discuss. And then finally, after 35 years, Liberia reopens embassy in India. These are all areas that Honorable Pewee has some ideas. So welcome to the show. I think it's going to be a long one, but it's worth it. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Absolutely, and I think it's a well to pack up agenda tonight, and I think. These are very important aspect of the debate, particularly what the newspaper is trying to extract that the Daniel Sano situation against the senator from Dopoh. I think he's being pushed, but the very day he was being attacking, he was trying to say nonsense about the senator. His boss, the Minister of Foreign Information, came on Facebook, just called his name, Daniel Sano, right? Yeah, him beginning fire. You see, sometimes if you kind of conditions, and most of our young folks that they are still struggling, never done anything successful in life, and relying on folks, and if you're the puppet master is trying to treat you as a puppet boy and just remotely controlling your activities and sometimes put you into some situation. And the political system in the country is very quick to swing. The pendulum can just swing any side, if you will. So you see, if folks started to do that, you're not yet established, you're just coming up, nothing you have in your name in terms of connections and nothing whatsoever. You just got a piece of a job that pay you probably maybe around a couple of $1,000s an hour, and you still got a long way to go. So I don't think you should be pushed to attack. But it's a manifestation of the way folks want the Ministry of Information to be carrying out statutory responsibility, and that's why many time you listen to some individual in the Republic say they should just dissolve said ministry, because the role of the ministry, I don't feel it's significant now. I think the office of the press secretary can get the job done instead of having a Ministry of Information. On a serious note, they are useless in the current role they play. And if the Ministry of Information is there to attack government adversary, and then there's no need to have the information, because the ministry is there for some strategic reason. Some of the reason the ministry is there for, I think Article 10 of the Constitution say that the Constitution of the Republic should be disseminated throughout the Republic. They should ensure the teaching of the Constitution. Both the Ministry of Information and the Ministry of Education should play a very major role in ensuring that the Article 10 is well executed. That's not done. But if you read it, the statutory responsibility of the Ministry of Information is there to inform the Liberian people adequately of happenings in the country. Inform the people, not to attack the people. But again, to further even encourage Mr. Sando of those kind of deranged way of attacking folks across the country, to encouraging the president visited the Information Ministry today. I'm told the president visited the ministry today. So I mean, so this visitation, with people would think that, oh yeah, because the man is doing the president say, oh my son, thank you. In send you up, right? The president did the information ministry today. So nothing is happening in the Ministry of Information. The only thing they're doing is that to sometimes wait when they hear something, they say, okay, media intelligence. They could get them some money, 400,000-500,000, and they share that among themselves, and they don't engage the people outside. They go for media intelligence money, all those things will happen. But it's just unfortunate that we see where the country is headed. But again, this drug situation is not going to end. And if I were advising the president, I would have said to him, Mr. President, let this play out by itself. There are people that are trying to serve as a hindrance to this issue. Remove them from the investigation. Allow the investigation to flow, Mr. President. No one hit the president government. The reality is that we ought to focus on the realistic thing. Let the thing flow. There are certain people in the system that know too much about this situation that are protecting, doing a lot of cover-up. So listen, you remove Biago from his position. You say, oh, the man did something morally and ungood. You're not charging Biago nothing whatsoever. There's something deep behind this. It was all nonsense for them to even move to say investigate Biago. No, just say the man didn't do nothing. Get him to his position. But you remove Biago. Where in the world someone would take a pickup from the drug law? They say the man is not implicated. Listen, if the government does not handle the drug thing the way that they're put, I think they've almost failed in handling it. They're going to harm them. They're going to be the reason why Mr. Bwaka is not re-elected 2029. And they have to take it very seriously. The game they're playing, you have a police chief that is somehow, he knows a lot of things, but he's trying to cover up. Then the justice minister say, oh, the men not doing nothing. So it's a lot of things. We told people from big hands inside government, so they know what they are doing in the seriously. They, okay, we will control at this level, but we'll not go far to in that, and then other big boys are into this. So they know what they are doing, and they know what so it's not going to help them even at that. But again, lastly, on the foreign ministry thing, I think it's a very, very important achievement on the part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. India is a strategic, we all want to see sometimes partnership with the ministry in projecting a lot of great jobs that the ministry is engaged with in terms of economic diplomacy and in fostering our foreign policy objective. But it's very important that you have a relationship with, not only as the minister stated the last time he appeared on the show, on the basis of the strategic nature. We have a lot of medical tourism going on in India. A lot of medical tourism, a lot of Liberian leave from Liberia back to India for medical reasons. We have a lot of students that are now into India studying. Got my niece is also there. Mine just informed me that he arrived, I think yesterday or so. Mine is also based there. So there's a strategic reason why the government should do that. So, I mean, by signing this and beyond that, the Indian government have been doing a lot of things for us diplomatically in terms of things. They've been helping a lot of bosses, sometimes ambulances and fire trucks and a lot of other things. The Indian government are being engaged. And we have an Indian that is doing one of the biggest investment in the country, Mr. Mattal. So there's a strategic reason, and beyond that, India is the world most. India is the world most biggest democracy. They got the biggest democracy in the world. Not the best democracy, so I don't know. The biggest democracy is India. When they go into election, 500 million people can vote.
I don't know how to count those people.
Yeah, you know, the last
1.5 billion, 1.5. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and you imagine when they go into election, 500 million people goes to the poll. So it's the world biggest democracy and the rest of that. So now they take most in counting.
They gotta be, and thank God they're not saying you let Pewee line up behind Pewee.
Yeah. So they do all those things. So it's the world most biggest democracy in the world most populated country. I think it's paramount that that's a very great news for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to establish a bilateral diplomatic relationship with India. That this is going to be critical. And now that we have our embassy now open, the Indian embassy being open. Normally we used to have a Indian Honorary Consul. Jetty served as the Indian Honorary Consul for Liberia for some time. Later, he was removed, and then they brought full-fledged Indian ambassador, because we normally process most of the Indian visa to go to India, Liberian to get visa. Normally used to move into Abidjan. Yeah, later on, now I think it's done in Monrovia, and the embassy is there in Monrovia. Now we have an embassy also back in India, in their political city. It's very important. It's a critical move, and it's very significant on that, on a serious note.
Good. Let me welcome the host of Straight Talk, Liberia, Abraham Toure, the Bassa man who speaks more Bassa than Besanga Finley. Welcome to the show. Besanga, call me. You're going to call me and conk my head when you keep messing with me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody for always being here. It's a pleasure, and I hope I can make a positive impact today while we're here, and I look forward to a fruitful discussion today.
Excellent. This one we're gonna start. Honorable Pewee was just talking about the importance of this new embassy being open in India. But today I want to talk about something that a brilliant young man from Lofa by the name of Nyenwolo, former Auditor General of the Republic of Liberia, said. He said to President Joseph Boakai and everybody else, he said, we cannot hire our way to prosperity. By opening more embassies, you are hiring more folks. By opening more ports, you are hiring more folks. By opening different commissions, you are hiring more folks. We cannot hire our way to prosperity. Prosperity requires that we empower our citizens to blossom. The more people Toure hires, the more people Pewee hires, the more people Gayman hires. The economy is growing, not by the government hiring more people. We cannot hire our way into prosperity. He named other countries that are best practice, best examples. But it looks like our best and brightest are giving us advices on things that are considered best practice. And the more Pewee talks, the more Toure talks, the more people talk, it looks like they turn around and do the actual opposite. We cannot hire our way into prosperity. We have to empower our country. That's Nyenwolo's assessment on how this government or how Liberian government has run.
Yeah, so Mr. Molu knows best, hopefully, what he's talking about. I can't pretty much sit here and trying to debate his thought process because I don't know from what standpoint he was speaking. However, government is like a like a double-edged sword. And somebody's got it. Okay, government's like a double-edged sword, and depending whatever you do, you just gotta move. Just hold that sword with care, because at the end of the day, you pretty much hurt yourself, right? Anything the government does, there will be a critic. Everything the government does, there will be somebody who will say, you know what, I love it, But I don't know from what standpoint Mr. Molu, was speaking. But he also got to take into account many Liberians who have faced. I don't know if Pewee had talked about this before coming on the show, but he has to take into account how many Liberians travel to India for different reasons, medical reasons, for education, and sometimes they have some difficulties in going through these processes. All right, so if the government of Liberia sat and said, you know what, to better off, to ease, some of these stress on our, Liberian, students, travelers, or business owners, or, patients who are going for better health services, it'll be a good thing. I will hope it open a diplomatic have a diplomatic presence on ground, then maybe the government making a decision in her wise judgment. Now, I've always said here on the show, I don't want to be a panelist who comes here and have project himself like he knows everything. But and this is one of the places, one of the conversations I would thread on carefully, because, like, for example, on my own platform, when people come on, when I do interview with them, I'm asking them questions for things I don't know. So at that time, I want to be educated. I also want to learn. I want to ask questions that I think I have idea about, I have concern or misunderstanding about, or confusion about. I'm asking the question. You give me the answer. The people listen to you, they can disagree with you or agree or not. Back to what I'm saying, because I've never been an ambassador before, never served as a foreign minister before. I don't understand what are those things that involve or require an embassy being open in another country. Because I don't have those facts, I don't understand how that works. I think it just be good on this conversation. I sit as a student, learn, but just from a Liberian person like me, or a male citizen like me, the first benefit that comes to mind is easy, access for some of these services that people go to India for. They don't have to go, for an example, I don't know how the process was done before, but they don't have to go to another country to get an Indian visa if there were visa required and stuff like that. So because I don't have much to talk about on this thing, I don't want to infer opinions that are not factual, so I'll just like back off. But I look at a good part, and the good part that I look at is how does this benefit Liberians, entrepreneur, students and patients who go for treatment.
Honorable Pewee, I think Toure is trying to bunt, or he's trying to bop and weave. He's trying to duck this intellectual question by saying, I don't have enough information. What John Molu is saying, for example, if I were to weigh embassy in India and embassy in Thailand, if I were to ask you, I say, Honorable Pewee, our budget is really tight, but we want to open an embassy in India. An educated person will say, the advisor to the president will say, let's look at other embassies that are not really critical to us, close some of those embassies, and open these that are very important. For instance, they say accredited Southeast Asian nations, that Liberia has accreditation embassy, the Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand. Those are the embassies that have been accredited that are now working. If I were to compare, if I want to say on a scale from 1 to 10, which embassy is more critical to Liberia that we need to open, everybody will say India. So since our budget is tight, I know somebody in that group, in that advisory will say, let's close down the less performing embassies to save money and shift that resource to India. Thailand, I don't think, it's that important for now. So we're going to shift some of these resources to India, because India, we can get the bang for our buck. So while opening 5 embassies in the Southeast Asia area, at the same time, the big embassy in India. So what John Molu is saying, not particularly about the India, but about the embassy, he is saying, we are opening too many employment agencies within the government when our budget is tight. Let me go to Pewee.
Yes, absolutely, and I respect Mr. Molu a lot. As a matter of fact, Mr. Molu, in the public sector, was the first person that ever the recommendation to have been employed. He signed my first employment letter in the public sector. I have worked with 2 different NGOs, I think 3 different NGOs, then very young, before even going to the GAC. But from the public sector, he was the first person that signed onto my employment letter. The first employment letter I ever got from government was signed by Mr. Molu. So I got a lot of deep respect for him. But let me quickly say here, Mr. Gayman, government structure and the foreign policy objective of the country is very clear. And sometimes the government, those that are managing foreign policy, the president is the chief foreign policy architect of the country. Article 57 gave that powers to the president. His chief diplomat is the Minister of Foreign Affairs that would have to engage our counterparts across the globe. It's bilaterally and by extension to multilaterally also. Now, so critically, in some cases, it's important that we have mission in certain areas. I know that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also do raise some revenue. And let me inform the audience about that. It's a revenue generating institution also. It's not they're going to employ. The ministry do raise some. It's not too much of a money, but the ministry raise some revenue instead of a consulate fee, the sales of passports and the visa fees and all those things. It's generated by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But in certain cases, and I would refer to it as certain cases, this institute, bilateral government, this government are not holistically responsible for our foreign policy deployment, if you will. But in certain cases, the minister office of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will engage our diplomatic partners, particularly those countries that are well off. So when there's a discussion of embassy being opening in certain countries, we engage them to see how best they can help us cover some of the costs. And I think some of the discussions went on in some countries that I do know of. For instance, when before the Liberian government could after the war reestablish, open the embassy in Kuwait, the Kuwaiti government committed to pay for a very long time. I don't know if they're still taking care of that. Pay all of our staff, give representation vehicles, take care of the housing of our staff, and also the office space of the embassy. The Kuwaiti government responsible for that. I know for a fact recently also we did open a mission in Dubai. The UAE government is also going to do that for the period of 5 or 10 years. I can't get the numbers right. So I know very well the Indian government, the Indian Extended Relations Minister, very powerful ministerial portfolio in India, being engaged with the Liberian government for some time in having this discussion. But this current minister brought this to fruition in terms of discussing this matter. I don't know the circumstances and the duties around this, but I'm inclined to believe that there will be some level of compensation or help intervention, if you will, by our Indian counterpart to help us ensure that the opening. But it's very important that we have that, and I want to differ slightly with Mr. Modu that it's important that we have a mission in, I know it's New Delhi or Bombay, I don't know where's the political headquarters now, but it's very important that we open a mission there. A lot of factors are going to be responsible here. We do have, as the minister eloquently stated, we have the issue of most of our students moving out now to India to learn. Health tourism is very paramount also. A lot of Liberians move in. My sister, some time or 3 years ago also, when she had issue with the foot, she had to go to conduct some surgery. She spent almost 3 months in India. She's now back home in the country. So thousands of Liberians are on the daily basis, if not on the flight, but if not on the flight for medical reasons, they're on the flight for study reasons. My just arrived in India. I'm told he's on a 4-year journey in India. He just arrived there. I was on the phone with him like 2 days ago before, the day he was leaving, and he was excited to go. He said he's in India currently. So a lot of other Liberians are also there. I got my niece, my sister's daughter is also in India currently studying. She should be concluding sometime maybe next year or so, according to. So these are part of the reason that is important. Now, we have almost 200 countries across the world. Liberia got relationship with more than 170 countries or so. Let me put it that way. But let me inform Mr. Modu also that Mr. Gayman, before I left the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we had 26 active missions. So listen, and that we do understand our shortcoming. We know that we've got some limitation, and that's why we don't have, not like the United States. The United States got embassy almost in a lot of countries across the world, right? And also all consulate. We have 26 active missions, and these 26 missions will include, at the time, a consulate and the rest of that. Of recent, when I left, I know that now we have the Dubai mission, which is the UAE mission, is now open. the Qatar mission being existing before the U. Even Qatar helped also establish at the time. That was done during the Madam Salif at the time, before she left or so. I know that there was a plan to open certain missions. The minister spoke of Rwanda. It's also important that we do that. That has not come to fruition here yet. So the country representational level, and in many areas, most of our ambassadors have this concurrent response role to play. One ambassador is serving here with the current oversight on 3-4 countries, because we don't have the resources to do that. We don't have the money to expand most of those our mission in most of the other countries. So it's just part of the reason in looking into strategic countries. And I was telling the Minister of Foreign Affairs before, Honorable Finney, when I served at the level of the ministry, I said, Mr. Minister, it's important that we always have to go to Canada. Nervous. I said, but what will become in Canada? You move here, we don't have a mission. Canada is a very strategic partner to Liberia. We've had a relationship with Canada for a very long time. This is a government. We can manage to have a small mission. If now a full-fledged embassy, we can open a consulate in the political capital of Canada to ensure that our representation is felt. But that is not the case. The ambassador, I think at the level of the United Nations or here, is the ambassador that got concurrent oversight on Canada and the rest of that. So, but doing this in India, it is very important. It's not much. We don't have too much representation across the world. Is that so? You imagine that broad relationship with almost 200 countries, but we don't have representation in 26 countries. I think with Qatar now, go to 27 and see other areas. We open Minnesota consulate. We open a consulate in Minnesota. So Minnesota we do have a full-fledged consulate now. So in the United States, we have 2 consulates. We have one in the New York, the Consul General in New York, and that of what we have now. We used to have an honorary consul representation in Georgia, in Atlanta, but she's no longer active. We also used to have an honorary representation in Jackson, Georgia, in Minnesota, but that was removed, and now we have a full-fledged consul general in those cities now representing us. So I mean, it's important that we do these things. Even the administration were trying to open one in Congo, Brazzaville, right? I don't think that came to something. So we have announced that the ministry, the government are going to establish a diplomatic time, open an embassy in Congo Brazzaville, but we didn't do that. So India, I think I will differ with Mr. Molu. It is important that we have a representation in India due to those factors. Not only the Indian, our people going for medical issues, our students, but the Indian government being strategic in helping us in the transportation sector, even relative to our fire service. The Indian government been very proactive and into agriculture also. And then we have ArcelorMittal. It's an Indian that did all those things. So there's some of the reason I think we ought to do that.
Well, India, just the sheer volume of engagement, activities, citizen movement, that alone, okay, guarantees and substantiate or makes it mandatory for us to have an embassy there, no doubt. But let's go to the premise, the core of his premise. Mr. Toure, Honorable Molu is saying we cannot hire, meaning the government, we cannot hire our way to prosperity. Prosperity can come only from the people. We should empower our people to become entrepreneurs, self-reliant, pay taxes into the government. But just government being the largest employer will not bring our country to prosperity. What do you think about that idea?
Yeah, so again, I have to read or listen to Mr. Modu's means of communication when he made those statements. He's very right when it comes in context as government being the most high employer. We cannot continue that way. You know, have depend on the private sector, improve it so that librarians can get jobs. He's 100% right on that. But again, I don't want to praise Molu on that statement and I get cut into the idea of you know, also endorsing his discouragement of the embassy in India.
No, he didn't mention the embassy. He was just warning the government that we cannot hire our way into prosperity. And the government, not just this particular government, we have to empower our people.
but this is an open secret. This is a broken record. Everybody have said it.
So then why nobody doing it?
So Liberia has, in that Clarence Monimba's voice, has an ethical leadership problem. Most people that are around leaders, unfortunately, in Liberia, they are self-seeking, grievous-seeking, and anything. And most of the time, the people that really have the right advice, pieces of advice, don't make it to the president. If they make it to the president one time and the president happens to get the idea, sometimes there's a lot of bureaucracy and barricade that stops that from coming back. So until Liberians stop thinking politically and start to think from a leadership standpoint and nationally being nationalistic about the growth and the future of Liberia, until we get to that point in life, we'll have these problems. Unfortunately, this is not going away. This is only go away until you find a person that comes in power and states it specifically and means it and act on it to say, hey, my administration is not based off my party. Why I appreciate my party brought me here, but I am now the leader of the Liberian people, and therefore I should govern this country as a national leader than a political leader. Until you have a person that comes there and says that publicly and actually means it and go after which you've said, we'll have these problems. Liberia has a leadership problem. It is the lack of leadership in most areas thereof that, to be honest, the president is not a doctor. He's not a mechanic. He's not a finance person. You don't have expertise in finance. You don't have expertise in health or education, economic. There are a lot of things he don't have expertise in. A president will only have the will to want to make a better change. So he call on experts in those areas to advise him make those change. And also he or she has to muster the courage, or have the balls to identify when things are not going the way it's going. It is actually a grace. Now, in the context of Liberia leadership, you have the grace. God should bless you to be able to see outside of your advisor's scope. But yeah, you should, only have the grace to say, oh, you know what? You should, pray that he has the grace to say, oh, I know this is not what I went for. This is not what I ran on. How many presidents sit back and review their agenda? How many presidents sit back in Liberia and say, you know what, this is what I ran on. This is the platform that I ran on. So let me see which one of them we are doing. Where are we now? Where do we go? How can we get there? It is not happening. Okay. So if you have a leadership that continues to dwell on holy concept, do you know how many programs President Boka goes to that he pretty much, I would want to think he doesn't like to go to, but he gets to go there because his advisors say go that will be good for the country? Do you know how many startups he's launched, and he goes there? There are a lot of things that president goes to that he does not. Like, it's not like, okay, you know what, I really want to go to this. Most of the things that he goes, and it happens for most presidents, right? But a president who is looking at certain things in a certain way, have that energy to work in a way that he or she wants the country to go, can say, no, what is important is this. I'm not wasting my time on this. You will send a delegation. Hey, go there, do this, do that, and go through those ones that really are important, right? So at the end of the day, yes, every Liberian politician, even the President Boakai said this thing. The private sector has improved. His words, So what about Mr. Molo say? If Mr. Molo did not made a statement in criticizing the opening of the embassy, then Mr. Molo is 100% right, because Mr. Boakai is a testament of saying that. He's on record for saying that. Mr. Alexander Kumi is on record for saying that. President George Weah is on record for saying that. As a matter of fact, President George Weah even amplified that and went granular when he said, "Oh, we want to make my administration will be a pro-poor administration." Okay, so all of them, they are on record for saying these things. Mr. Kumi, Mr. Edwin Freeman is not. Freeman, not right with him. Simon Freeman is not saying. He's now saying that. Musa Ability is saying that. We have this is the higher level of verbal redundancy, that we've ever experienced, right? But how do we actually implement? Liberia got no problem making promises. We have problem with implementation. And until that is fixed, Mr. Molo is not saying nothing new. The president knows this. He knows this. And I just want to say about that for now.
Honorable Pewee, let's go back. I mean, the premise of John Molo's is, should the president call the likes of John Molo? John Molo is saying we cannot hire our way to prosperity. Liberia prosperity will depend on us empowering the private sector. When the private sector is empowered, entrepreneurship, small businesses, they will pay their taxes. It will broaden the economic base of the economy. Anything other than that, just by hiring everybody, moving your payroll from 70,000 now close to maybe Georgia left it at 64,000. Now it's over 70,000. We are just going backward and backward. The pie is very small. So basically now you are slicing it smaller and smaller. What he's saying is that we should find a way to empower the private sector, the regular citizens, to increase the base so the taxes can come in. But other than that, we can carry our wage bill up to 100,000. It wouldn't do anything about the economy. In fact, it would negatively impact the economy. You are muted.
Exactly. To solve the problem of the country, and you cannot overburden the government to always to hire. And that's sort of the reason why folks are taking some of the father at home as take home salary, because the government the money is not there to hire. The government under normal circumstances are there to hire strategic number. You can have a bloated public service thing. It's part of the reason why even when Mr. Trump came to office, they brought your man, how they call him, the richest boy on the ground, came to help with his team, came to cut down a lot of federal workers and the rest of that. But this is a different scenario because this is the world's most richest country in the world. They can cope with that. But in Liberia, we need to ensure that we have more companies coming back on the ground, more local investments. I mean, encouraging international investors to come and invest into the country is very paramount. That will alleviate significantly the burden from national government in terms of hiring. The government don't have the capacity, and we can go to, and I agree with Mr. Molu from that perspective 100%, that to create the work sector in the country, you have to be very diversified and creative in doing some things. You need to keep the country stable as front, get rid of those unnecessary laws, those kind of negativities in the country is not good, because investment won't thrive into those kind of conditions. And that's why the reason why you see investors not coming on the ground. So you need to create the environment that we see that the country is stable, is peaceful, is investable, and then so that folks will come and invest into the country. And if folks do invest into the country, they'll create more opportunities for folk and for employment. And by that, they will move across the country. There will be some investment ongoing in Lofa, in Mangibi, in Bon, Nimba, across in the southeast, Kitma, Riverside, Grand Bassa. If you did that, you see employment start to spread across the country, then you will reduce the weight from government from hiring. Then government will just have strategic size of employment. Maybe you reduce the 70,000 to, or you just stop at that, or 50,000, and the government can go back to do some recalibration and see how they can more incentivize most of the government staff. Other than that, we're going to be into this Caesar kind of a battle for a very long time.
Real quick, people. Let's be. Let's put Liberia first, right? You think by now the president should call someone like John Molo and say, let's sit down, give us some of the ideas you got. Let's see how we can collectively do this to benefit our people. You don't think it's time that the president calls John Molo to the table, or the likes of John Molo bring them to the round table and say, guys, listen, politics is over. It's time for Liberia. Let us all put it. How do we do this? You don't think it's time?
I think it's time to do that. Absolutely, but he's not going to do it. And so I wanted to answer that question first and foremost. It's time to do it, but he's not going to do it.
Why?
He's not going to do it. It's clear he's not going to do it. Folks around the president wouldn't bring Mr. Molu. And, when Mr. Molu play a role into bringing the president when they did most of those activities at the time, I was one of those individuals that said hey, before the inauguration, Mr. Molu and the president and folks around the president, there will be a problem. Folks say, maybe someone told me, man, you could drink your Corona beer, man, and keep quiet. I said, there's going to be problems. I said, why? I said, now, Mr. Molu is a strict forward person. He's a very strict forward person. I know him very well. He was trying to be very clear to the president and say, he would recommend to the president that certain people around you, I don't want to get rid of them. You want to do this. And those people are the one that will say, okay, before he struck, we would do it. Exactly what I said. A couple of weeks before the inauguration, there was already a problem. So I can say this to you. The president would never call Mr. Molu. Never call Mr. Molu. The president believed that Mr. Molu would have activities and people, his lieutenants around him would encourage that. The president himself believed that he can call Molu because Molu want to do things the way he sees necessary that will bring productivity around. Molu believed there are certain recycle element around the president that should not be around the president. And most of those people don't want to see Molu around. So, yes, should he call Molu? Yes. Will he call Molu? I can put everything that I have in my name on the line. Yes, that if the president called Molu, I will put everything out. He would not call Molu. But again, yes, what Molu is saying is the fight. It's just a fight. And people that are around Molu, they're around the president, they don't want to see Molu very close around the president. And that is not going to happen. And I can assure everybody about this. And that's why before even the inauguration, the whole team went this way it went. And that because I know who Molu is, I worked with him before, and on the system in Liberia, those that were around the Liberian presidency, I knew that there would have been some serious problems. So yeah, Mr. Molu is right on what he said. One of the major sectors to create wealth in the country is the agriculture sector. And I thought Mr. President served before in those areas, LCADP, LPMC, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the rest of that. I thought he would have spent more time ensuring that the agriculture sector be the wealth-creating sector in his administration. That would have been a buckle up for him, right, to expand, engage into some mini mechanization process. We haven't done that. We haven't seen that. Even Minister of Agriculture been complaining of some minimal kind of a support coming up to him, accusing the finance ministry of undermining his ministry, lack of support. So if the agriculture ministry is lacking behind, and we don't have investors coming to the country, the government going to be the single larger employer. And by that, everybody's hanging on it now. So some people will take $75 home, some people will take $50 home, some people will take $200 home. As the case quickly, Mr. Gayman with the warning of the central prison that lamented, unfortunately, the way he did, taking home $224. Something that I can go sit down one by one day, get the $1,000 out there. We'll sit down one area, we'll spend $200 for public, right? I'm not saying it to mock that, but that's something that we spend on social cycle. So $200 to my family, man. And that's the problem. What Modi is saying, we're going to continue doing that if we don't put more time in creating wealth in the country and showing that the private sector is vibrant. The viability of the private sector will reduce the pressure and the burden for our government.
Ture, let's put this to rest here now. We're talking about, if during the campaign, most of the folks, the elderly folks, those that were around in the 80s and the 90s, most of them voted for Women Boykai because they felt like he served as a Director General LPMC, Minister of Agriculture. He's from Lofa. Lofa used to be the breadbasket of the country. Most people said if the president had any legacy at all, it would be in wealth creation from the Department of Agriculture, through agriculture. And almost 3 years into his administration, like Honorable Pewee say, the Ministry of Agriculture is complaining because they got no support. In 2025, 2024, Liberia imported $337 million in rice. This is why yesterday most people called in and said the $1 million the president and this administration were trying to do the propaganda that is going to create jobs, and everybody says it's a joke. How can we import rice for that amount of money? And we got the soil, we got water, we got everything. And we are looking for ways to increase the budget, our employment. I thought this would have been the president's sweet spot to say, you know what, I may not know about water, I may not know about electricity, but I know about agriculture. Nothing is happening there. Isn't that if he were to call John Molly in my estimation, would have said, you know what, let us take that $13 million, $28 million from the Secret Service, I call it NSA, and put it into agriculture. And let's see what happens in 2 or 3 years. So I think John Molu has a point here. Should the president call John Molu?
The president of the Republic of Liberia, be it Buakai or anybody else, needs to call the likes of John Molu. Not just John Molu. John Molu might be, a professional, has domain, has power over certain domains when it comes to the workings of government and the economy and stuff like that. But there are Liberians who are in every different other areas who have certain we want to call them expertise that the country can benefit from. So yes, the president should call John Molu. But at the end of the day, we also have to. I blame. It's kind of dicey situation, right? John Molu. I heard a lot of people. I've never met him in person before, but most people that I talk to about would know John Molu to whatever extent they know him. To say, oh, he's a very straightforward guy. He don't sugarcoat that. And the last time I checked, somebody told me diplomacy is not about just being face on. Something got to sway your way to get certain things done. So maybe John Molu is not a diplomat in that context, that he's not going to sugarcoat things. When you see it wrong, he's wrong. Is wrong, right? But yes, he needs to call people like John Molu who has that mindset, and Liberians who have the better know-how to save our country, who can give some of us the opportunity to go as entrepreneurs or even skilled Liberians to work. They need to pivot down their approach and see how best they can they can be able to something the ground for them to be heard or listened to, right? So yes, he should call John Molu. He should call the likes of John Molu, that they will go back to Liberia and put out a strategically strong approach that Liberians everywhere can enjoy, that you and I we can be in America and we'll also get a residual benefits where the country is not so hard that our friends are calling for $5 here and there, our families are calling for $5 here and there. And Liberians in Liberia, they're not lazy people, they are very strong people. They are people who just want an opportunity to work. And I always told people, the government of Liberia, by extension to the representative in the House of Senate, they are the people, those are our problem. The senators, the representatives are our problem. We don't hold people accountable nowadays. Now the whole thing now about people losing their electoral seats is this hardest commodities being sold now in Liberian politics. You can't criticize the government too much because your friends will find something that will to remove you off, because if you don't, they will have quorum and they will remove you and stuff like that. So because of that, most people that went in there to fight, they are not fighting, they are protecting their job. They can't speak their mind no more. They can't advocate for the people no more. The government of Liberia is abusing the constitution every day, abusing democracy every day. You have a lawmaker that you said was no longer a lawmaker. You say you took him out, but you are not putting a vacancy that people can go, that people that he represented can still be represented today. It's not happening. The very lawmakers are the one destroying that country. The Liberia is not being destroyed because of the president. No, it's not. It's been destroyed because of the lawmakers. And until God blesses us with lawmakers who mean well for that country, who will say, no, like, we cannot continue doing business as usual, we'll not have problem. Ministries who deserve money, they're not getting the money they need. For example, Ministry of Education not getting the requisite money they need. The Ministry of Health not getting the money they need. The NSA getting what it can get. As a matter of fact, DA not getting what they want. Police is not getting what they need. Immigration is not getting what they need. So at the end of the day, most of the money is going to political offices. Budgets are being increased for speakers, Senate pro tem, vice president, presidents. Those are political offices that money going to. When will we Liberians come together and say, you know what, this thing has got to stop? And I always said, Liberian government officials, like Jeremiah Kun said at one point in time, I will use his words. You guys don't have the cards to continue living this way. You don't have the cards to continue to live this way. The card is not in your favor. It's not on your game. It's not on your side. You can't win this game if Liberian decides to say, you know what, enough is enough. E.J. Roy and Alexa then died today because Liberian got fed up with a certain system. President Taylor then brought war today because Liberians got fed up with a certain system. And just take that one brave leader and say, you know what, I will risk it all. But this has got to stop. They're not going to bring civil war, but it'll bring a massive protest that will stop you from doing your job. It'll bring a massive protest that thinks that the reason why other countries in Africa, God bless us in Liberia, we're not that clandestine, but the reason why other countries in Africa suffer terroristic attack is because of something like this. Anytime a crime is committed somewhere, that means something is being unresolved. That's what crime is. That's how crime is carried out around any society. When there's a crime, there's something fundamental that should be done that is not being done. That's why criminal activities increase or plummets. Today, Liberia is at the edge of going back to those things. And we cannot continue living like this. Some of us, a guy like me, Toure, I don't want to be in Elza. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in Elza. I don't want to live here. What I wanted for this country, I've gotten it. It's education. I didn't come here to get rich. Let the government open a playing field that we Liberians can leave and say, you know what, we're going to open our low with our market, we're going to open our low kind of business, but any person that's doing that, let things move smoothly. That's all we are asking for. And we see that all they want to blame Bwaka, the ministers, I don't blame them. And I'll close with this on this topic. When I was growing up, my grandmother, may her soul rest in peace, she always advised me not to do certain things. The day I went out and did things that she said I should not do, guess what she did? And then, for example, I went out and I got beaten. Most people, she said, do not leave the house today. I'll be right back. And I left and I went and got beaten. Guess what she did? She came back and she whooped me on top of it. So now she even take me to the guy who whooped me, and then the guy will whoop me again in some cases. Because she said, if you are sat here and listen to me, this was not going to happen. Okay, so the reason why my mother took him back to the guy is not because my mother hated me, my grandmother hated me. She hated me. She did it because she wanted him to listen to what she wanted to do. Back to this I bring this analogy back to politics. We can't keep blaming I'm not blaming the president. Is the president at fault? Should he be over his game? Yes, but let's tussle and tussle. You can put Abraham Toure there today. If this same guy rolls around me, they can put Pewee there today. They can put Malu there today. If this same guy rolls around anybody put out there, the country is not going to go nowhere. So instead of focusing on the president every day, the president, we should divert our attention to those guys who make the laws, who have the oversight ability, who have the oversight responsibility, who make the law, who refine, who do everything that's supposed to make us as a country succeed. I'm sick and tired of blaming the president, and unfortunately, I cannot blame the president on this.
Yeah, but Toure, now you're confusing people, like a lot of people, including myself. Let's look at the legislative responsibilities here. The judiciary interprets the law. The legislative body, okay, they make the law. The executive headed by the president is supposed to enforce the law. So if the law has not been enforced and these people are not working and the president is not punishing them according to the law, then it is the president's malfeasance.
So you can say that no,
I can't say that's what the Constitution says.
Okay,
the Constitution, the executive enforces the law.
Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, I bring you back to what I said to you. I told you, I give you an analogy how my grandmother whooped me because I didn't listen to her.
Your grandmother is not in the Constitution.
No. Listen to me. I give her an analogy. I told you my grandmother would further discipline because if I didn't listen to her, not because she hated me, right? So in this case, assume that in this case, I'm my grandmother now to the president. Yes, I'm not bringing him under there because of what, because my point is this: the lawmakers, they have a responsibility to the president to be honest. Y'all, every time we come on the show, the president is the most powerful man in the country. He has this, yada. Yes, that power has not been tested. The day that power gets tested, we'll know whether the president is more powerful or not. It has not been tested. The president got veto power. They also, the hostile got quote unquote, similar power. If the president somebody not agree and take it back and say we don't acknowledge that. So you can go back to where they come to a common ground and say, you know what, this is what needs to be done. Until we start a challenge, until these government or agencies, the courts, the Senate, the representative, and executive, until they go back to being neutral, but reasoning on the best interest of the country, where the president cannot influence any of this system, at the end of the day, we're not going to go nowhere. So yes, I understand the president has a serious responsibility to take the country the way it's supposed to go, but also let's also pivot, because we're making this job easy for most of the guys in the House of Representatives who don't know what the hell they're doing. Come there cussing people out every day, sometimes in some cases going there making noise every day. The House of Representatives, when it comes to the session, they are more than lousier, the noisier in the whole lawmaking process of Liberia than, for example, the Senate. You know, the cutting D's here and there, the other make our interest in here and there. This is nonsense. We have to make it stop. So yes, I get it. The president has a responsibility, but let's pivot a little bit. Let's divert this attention as well to the representatives too, because they have a serious responsibility as well. Until then, we're not going to get nowhere with this. And it's unfortunate that we sit here every time, you know, that we blame the president. It's not unfortunate as if we are wrong. It's unfortunate that the very people we talk about, the barricades around him, don't listen to these things, and we come in every day, we're saying these things here, and they're creating all these barricades. Yes, the president has a responsibility, but let's pivot a little bit. Today, let's shine the light. Let's hold him accountable as well in those very houses. That's my point.
Pewee, before you go to your point, you got to answer this question. I know it's philosophical, but it's very germane today. Is water wet?
Water?
Yeah, is water wet? This guy said we should hold everybody responsible, but the president, who is the captain of this ship,
I listen to Ture, and I'm getting the difficulty to even understand from that perspective. And I agree we should hold the lawmaker responsible. They got a role to play, but Ture, the Constitution of our country, and any president that will fail to perform her role in said way, and I think that person is not fit to be president of the republic. The Constitution didn't even stop there to say, oh, they're getting started. The Constitution gave you the power, the other power here, say, all of them. Article 54 says, everybody, you got the power to appoint them. Beyond Article 54, first and foremost, Article 50 came and said the executive power of the republic shall be vested in the president. The president will be head of government, commander-in-chief, armed forces, and head of government. It didn't stop there. It moved to say, because of how powerful that office is, anything the person is doing while in office, you cannot even go to say you arrest you or do this. Then it came to 54. Ministers, deputy minister, assistant minister, ambassadors, director general, from military, from the rank of lieutenant or second lieutenant. The president will appoint them for confirmation, some of them, most of them for confirmation to the Liberian Senate, some no confirmations. And it didn't stop there, it came back to where the president should be well respected and something else. It says, all of those, 56 of the Constitution, all of those the president appoint, serve at the way and pleasure of the president.
Does he even appoint the Supreme Court? Does he?
Of course he does. So, my dear brother, so if the president says, see, those, because these people that the president appoint are kind of exonerate to the presidency. They're all hanging out to perform piece of responsibility, assigned to them by the president. If you are my boss and you give me a piece of the assignment, Mr. Ture, you say, Pewee, this is what you're going to do, and you came in to do your evaluation, your assessment evaluation, you find out that Pewee is not performing. What do you do to recommend? Because if don't supervise me effectively, you know tomorrow you'll be fired. What do you do in that instance? You definitely recommend our boss, our senior boss. I don't think the man fit in the play though. I recommend that we change him. Or I recommend that you suspend him to see if he will come back and put more time to the job. Two things you're gonna do was the president is presiding. He went, we're just discussing some yesterday before you came on the show. He went, one of his managers came and said he now gave 9% water supply to the people. And the president then left there, he laughed, he clapped, he went home. I mean, on a serious note, the law, why I agree with the lawmakers should be checkmated also. The responsibility the president got to ensure a lot of things unfolded, because the president is the one that presides over the entire country budget. He's the manager of the budget. It's not the legislature who will pass. He ensured the implementation and the enforceability of structural issues in the country. The president manages the national security also. So a lot of things. So if those people are not performing, if they will say the president will appoint Mr. Pewee 10 cabinet ministers to one ministry every year, you can do it to make sure you get the rep lieutenants to get the job done. But I think I'm disappointed the way I see the way things are unfolding. And we say every day the president will gonna say we can't get it wrong. Oh, I was getting it last thing, we can't do it, and we're not still getting anywhere. Look at RIA rule. The last time I left on that, and I'm sure I will go back again and see if we still not finished and other things will still be struggling around it. If the government did some things that are commendable, like today, the Indian something is commendable, we'll praise the government for that. If the government did something is good, we will say it. We are not anti-government. Particularly for me, ever since I left government, I can't say I'm going to be a neutral person. I will praise the regime. The regime did some good job. I will even engage how we can partnership with the regime to build some in terms of public relation or get cooperation for the country. Because anything that go good in the country, we all stand to benefit. Anything that goes wrong is going to reflect on. If the LDC is not effective, someone will go someone will current go boom and we always be in the heat. If there's LDC effective, we all benefit. This road, we all put our cars on the road and we drive well. It will save our honor carriers. So, I mean, that's it. We just have to hold our public officials accountable more so that they can be more accountable to us and perform on behalf of the people, and that we're going to see this. But I think the employer of the president, they may speak there, and they will speak very effectively come 2029.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, great debate. I'm reading the comments here. I will not go to the one where he talked about the two reasons. I will not go there. But let me welcome Mr. Sodi, 2827, beautifully said. Samuel Hollywood, thank you very much for tuning in. We have here, let me go, I think we got a private message here. Let me see what it says. Oh, Victor Nagbe is in the back. Honorable, can you bring him on? Let me see. There you go. We have here Yvonne. Yvonne says she's pushing her carton. She's at work. We understand. That's America. You have to do what you got to do. Yeah, good evening, guys. Following you guys from my job, my nursing unit at the hospital. We thank you very much for saving lives here. Flex Electronics, as usual. Tons of advices and insightfulness. Joan Turlow. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name. Hey, Mr. Gayman. I was out for a while. Thanks for keeping it up, but I'm watching from Brewerville. Thank you very much. Jammer Borough, thank you very much. Emmanuel Bro, thank you. All the Minnesotans are tuning in. Nora Hooks, the high closing argument I'm following. Okay, Nora, thank you very much. Well, I tell you, Martin Willie, all the way from South Korea, thank you very much for tuning. We appreciate you. Vinicius Bar from New Clutan, the borough of New Clutan. I don't care what they say. I stand by what I say. I think the stats will bear me out. The most educated borough in the Republic of Liberia, any particular segment, I don't care where, nobody comes close to New Clutan. Let me work on with J. Victor Nagbe. Audit the legislature now.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Happy Friday to you guys. Good to be with you. I listened to some of your discussion, and I was in and out a couple of times, but I listened to your discussion, opening an embassy in India,
Molu's take on government, employment and all that stuff. And I also listen to the input from my young brother here. I hope he's listening in the back. Sylvester Pewee just kind of sum up my own confusion about his position as well. Sometimes I really struggle to understand, where he stands.
Can I ask you the same question I asked Honorable Pewee?
Where we stand? No, I mean, he says something at the end. You don't want a minute. Wait,
yeah, no,
where we stand?
Let me ask you for, is water wet?
That would be level Mr. Ture to come and answer that. So Mr. Ture here says the government is doing well, but Liberia has a leadership problem. What does that mean? He supports Boakai. Boakai is the leader of Liberia, but Liberia has a leadership problem. Then he says the people around the president are sycophant, but he is around the president. What does that make him? And so I'm just really kind of confused myself, as to which side to place him on, But the question that, you're discussing, the embassy, I heard Sylvester Pewee's input on this, from his own experience. And I think that he's right. There's a few factors that will drive the opening of an embassy. Besides just the affordability question, which I think should be the overriding question. Can we afford to maintain this here? Then there is also the purpose that the mission is going to be serving, Liberia has a lot of interaction between India and Liberia. That is quite correct. He mentioned Mayan as an example here. And I hope, he has settled in, he's doing well. But we have a lot of traffic between Liberia and India. There are a lot of Indians in Liberia. Liberians are now going to India a lot. Then there's the business interest. Liberia does a lot of business with India. Most of our rice, I understand, comes from India. So we do a lot. So I think it makes a lot of sense. But can we afford it? I think Sylvester Pewee said 26 or 27 now. So, we all know the difficulties that our foreign missions, you and I were at the Liberian embassy. You probably been during the time of my friend, the former vice president, my own brother and friend from Cottonton. Anyway, he was also the ambassador in Washington, and also taking care of Canada, right? When he left that embassy, you remember there were photos of the embassy, grass couldn't get cut and all of that. Yeah. People have been at that embassy for months, sometimes years, without being paid in DC. DC is supposed to be the cream of the crop in terms of representation outside of Liberia. If the embassy in DC is experiencing such difficulties, I can imagine what's happening to the embassy, say, in Nairobi, Kenya, So can we afford to maintain this embassy? Sarah has done, Ms. Beslow, minister, has done a lot of good stuff, so I'm assuming there was a lot of thought put into this. So after 35 years, she's erecting this, but, at what cost? Is it on top of what we already have? Or are we doing like even the U.S. government is doing now, reducing the representation around the world? We all know the whole of Africa now, there may be only 20 centers servicing the entire continent, and that's because they themselves have reduced the number of embassies and consulates, around the world. We are, on the other hand, we seem to be increasing, so does it make economic sense? And then to come to Molu, I think what Molu wrote speaks to the government as well as also the ordinary citizenry. Molu is saying that it takes a leader to do what my brother Ture was lamenting. The president is not a doctor, he's not a lawyer, So what? Molu is arguing, and rightfully so, that the leader will take all of the various talents that we bring and try to mesh it together and produce a productive whole. That should be the work of the leader. That should be the work of the leader. Identify the talent and deploy that talent so that it makes sense.
You're not going to give up today, huh?
So when he said the president is not a doctor, of course, I don't even know what the president is. He's not a doctor. We know that he has a doctorate degree, but he's not a doctor.
You're not come for me against today, huh?
He's not agricultural, but he has been at LPMC. I don't know what he did. He's not a chemist. He has been at LPRC. Now he's a president. He's being all over the government, the country, and look what we're getting. So that's a good point he's making. But a good leader would take all of the talent that we have and try to mesh it together so that you produce results. Now, Molo is also saying, as an ordinary citizen, don't just sit there and wait for the government to employ you. Get up and do something. Get up and do something. And you know, he was saying that you can either be a carpenter or be a carpenter union foreman. Put together 2 or 3 carpenters. Call yourself a carpenter, you know, agency or whatever it is. Go around the country and seek contracts. You can do that. There are lots of people who have employment agencies, temp agencies. We all go and sign up there. You know, you leave a number there, you know, and Jerome has an electrical job. He will call you, and then you find the talent. We don't have that much in Liberia. We can, you know, so Molo is saying we should try to be enterprising. And I think that's the thrust of Molo's argument. So to come back to it, the government should not be the largest employer in the country. Now, we're doing it in the reverse. When the president came in, he said 70,000. I am sure we've gone way above that because he's creating new agencies every day. I've not heard him collapsing any of these agencies, you know. But again, so back to you. I'm just really confused about my brother Toure. And sometimes I don't know whether he doesn't have nightmares when he leaves here and go to because sometimes his positions colliding with each other to the point where he should be having nightmares.
So again, I think I have a responsibility to explain myself, right?
Oh, 1 minute. I'm coming. Let me
Well,
work
you
on
have to explain yourself. That is a problem.
Let me work on Sarah before I get in trouble. Well, you gotta wait your turn because in our comment section they are killing you, and I try to tell them, and then someone said, let me respond to Sarah. I'm coming to you here. I want my brother here to know that I am not censoring. Listen, I am not here to censor. I'm going to read it. He said, Toure, the president is the CIC, commander-in-chief, head of government, and the only person elected to that office. Sending Kong to a non-issue for me is a non-issue for me. You know how Kofa got removed and how Yeke got removed. All of these are all pointing to the president's handiwork. But let me work on Sarah first. Then we will go to something that I think is Celia Sonny is talking about.
Where, as Sarah is coming, where is our new female panelist? She already taking an extended leave. She already stressing.
Yeah, that's it. You're taking off on the first day of work. You just got it, Johnny. You're taking off on the first day. Sarah, welcome to the show, and I like your hair.
Thank you, everyone. Hi, everyone. I want to say hello to everyone.
The hair matching the blouse. And the
blouse matching the skin, the skin matching the backdrop. You need me.
This CDC pundit thing is very rewarding.
I said the CDC convention is everybody came for that shiny.
Yo, be okay.
You see how I look dusted? I didn't make it there. I look dusted.
Yeah, man, great conversation. And yeah, I mean, I listened to my brother Toure as well. Whatever he was saying there in the back, I heard him, and I heard what you guys said to him. I think he's in a different world when it comes to Unity Party and the governing system in our country. But I will leave it at that. You know, he's entitled to his own opinion. But I would say for sure that the president, the boss starts with him. So everything that happened in our country, we will refer to him. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, he takes that responsibility. So I just want to, but thank you for the show. I'll wait for my turn.
Okay, guys. I don't know who speaks French here, but somebody says something. Hopefully it's something good. I think it's Hawking Annie says something. Bonjour. That's why I know that. Everything else I follow, I have no clue. Hopefully it's something nice. For those of you who understand French and read it, hopefully she should not cause this person not causing my mind. But whatever it is, welcome to the closing argument. It looks like this is your first time and you are contributing already. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Toure.
So this is what I would say to this. And like when Peter said, if I still need to explain myself, then it's a problem. It's not the problem. Sometimes you live in a place where people are hearing you, but they're not understanding you. So sometimes you have the responsibility to hopefully clarify what you're saying. I'm in no way by chance trying to excuse the president or get him off the hook. What I said, and I still maintain, is this: why it's true we keep our mind on the president. These lawmakers also have a responsibility to do their job accordingly, because when things the president's supposed to do, when those things are not being done, they have the responsibility to go. I mean, to call the person to order. That's where that oversight authority comes in. That's what I'm trying to say. If I did not say that, if I said something else, I'm sorry. But what I'm trying to say to you is this: why should we keep the eye on the prize, which is the president? We should also not forget those lawmakers, because in the functioning country, in the functioning democracy, they also have the power to call those ministers who's supposed to do certain things to order. They also have the power to even call the president to order, and we should not sit here every time and always blame the president only. As we are blaming the president, let's also go back to those guys who have also the responsibility to create the accountability that the country needs to move forward. That's what I meant to say. If I didn't say that,
so you say you're sorry,
No,
but
you have clarified yourself.
You should be doubly. You should be doubly sorry.
No, that's what I've said. But you're as a politician.
You should be doubly sorry. First, you should be sorry for causing so much confusion. 2, you should be sorry for being a panelist and not following events in the country. Don't you know that the president has gone and cut the knees for honor of the legislature? You don't know that? Newsflash. He removed the speaker who made little attempt, just the littlest of attempt to stand up to him. He cut him down. His name is Jonathan Fonati Kofa. Maybe you don't remember that name. And who do we have?
Regime speaker.
We have the regime speaker who is marrying to every woman on this earth, from his own sister to other people. Other people, where he's going? Come back here. Come back here.
During the early time they had a song, John True the Winnow, come here. But listen, let me. Hopefully, I know he turned it. He's a young dad. He turned into business. But let me read this to him, because he's talking about the legislative.
So I didn't want to go off and be my. I got
listen. I agree with you.
But I can respond to what my people just said. But so that how they have it.
Listen. Feed the baby. He crying. We're coming to you.
I'm good.
You are a young father. We understand. This is a family show. But let me read this to you real quick. It says here, because you keep talking about the lawmaker not doing their part, but then on the front page of the paper today, it says lawmaker freeze payments on the $160 million RIA highway over an audit review. And let me read it. Payments and contract charges for the Liberia $116 million Roberts International Airport Highway are frozen until the contractors appear before the legislature. After East International Group failed to appear at an audit hearing for the third day, and lawmakers ordered the Ministry of Public Works to break off all dealings with the company. I'm coming to you, Ture. Honorable Pewee, here we are. The young man says we just blame the president, the legislative body should do their work. Here they are. The president have not spoken on this issue for almost 3 years. This legislative body Senate finally got involved and put stop to all payment, all transaction, every dealing with the international, because this particular rule, it looks like it will never end. So now, what will Mr. Ture say about the legislative body not doing their work? Let's touch on it before we vote and let him catch his breath. But muted.
Yes, what I've observed over the period of time in the country is that unlike here, the legislature, Congress got extraordinary powers. But back home, I would say this to you: most often, even at time when lawmakers, some government officials, some will deliberately leave the country, say they are, and they send their deputies. It's always been the case there. So the lawmaker will have to really muscle the courage to do some of the things, and I think, and they got their oversight, the oversight responsibility as per Article 34 of the Constitution. You see, so the core of the separation of power is being also executed. There are certain lawmakers that are trying to push the cause, ensuring that government officials do account. Now, over the period, even before you can begin a new budget hearing, the legislature got the powers to ensure that the Ministry of Finance should come up with the budget performance report. Oftentimes, there's no budget performance report, then you want to go back to get new budget hearing. No, it's not the case. The lawmaker should not even move with new budget hearing if we don't have a comprehensive budget performance report. There will have to be budget performance report and all these things. So the oversight responsibility of the lawmakers, it's not only the issue is not only the lawmaking, it's one, but oversight is very critical. So, and that oversight is to ensure that those individuals that are confirmed in public service are delivering in keeping with their own legislative agenda. Now, they have money in the budget, for instance, say this money is going for the fire service to procure X, Y, and Z. The lawmaker got the right to summon the fire service chief to come and say to them, what are the fire plan? The chief fire marshal of the republic. The lawmakers got that right. But in many cases, when the lawmakers were to move and say, the last time you saw the police chief publicly using some invective on a sitting senator in the plenary of the Liberian Senate when the pro tempore didn't even reprimand him immediately. They didn't reprimand him, they lied, they continue, they say, oh, no, I wouldn't be a lawmaker or government official coming. They respect me in chambers, then you sit there. No, if you that pro tempore, it's not possible. I will ensure that something, if you don't do it, then we all set the line, everybody get their respect in that August institution. So lawmaking is critical, and we need lawmakers with the balls to do it. And it's some of the reason why Kamara is being attacked now by this, by loose talking elements in the government, and being hired to do that is because Kamara is one of the critical lawmakers in the country. And it's true, Mr. Gayman. So they are right to do that. But how far are we going to go about that? If the lawmakers say, okay, we're going to freeze funding, directly here the jobs are not done, and then it's true, and the Ministry of Finance want to go do XYZ, the next time, don't do no budget for the Ministry of Finance. And then you collectively say to 30%, if you can fire the finance minister, we will not work with you. The past legislature did that to Madam Salif, and she bulged. And how she removed Mirabro. Yes, they said if you keep her, we will not do work with you. Anything you bring to her, we will not touch it. You have to exercise that strength, or in that Liberia is just going to be a kind of a playground for this kind of thing to happen. So I think it is critical to ensure that these things are. But the major thing is that if the president was even paying more attention to governance, you wouldn't even see the lawmakers even, because the reason why the lawmakers exercise some of the president is lacking behind, playing this what we call the laissez-faire attitude. Right? I don't have time. Je m'en fous de ce qu'il faut. Right? Je m'en fous. That's my food attitude.
The mass both text French. You didn't interpret the order. You want to speak. You want to talk in French. Don't cause all the hell.
No. The same thing I said. The laissez-faire. Je m'en fous. I don't have time.
Je m'en fous.
Yeah, I don't have time for what they would do. Right? So this kind of a thing, Ture. So I think it is important that Mr. Gayman, that the lawmaker, and let me really commend them for that. It's important that we ensure that our lawmakers are playing the responsibility of doing some of these things that they are doing, and trying to probably play the role of those ministers' boss. Because if the boss is sleeping on the steering,
so this is right. This is underscores my point I was making. I said yes. Why should hold the president responsible? But the lawmakers have a duty, and Pewee just said it. He just laid it out here. So
I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you 1 minute. Let me go to Sarah. Sarah,
Why?
Yeah.
So you go. You know what? Sorry,
Yeah. Hold your door.
No. The reason why
the crewman say tie your door.
No, but you just clarify yourself so we understand that.
Yeah, okay, Sarah. Sarah,
you say your position on that, and what you say is true.
Sarah, it says here the Joint Legislative Public Work Account Expenditure and Audit Committee directed the Ministry of Public Work on Wednesday to halt every payment discussion, and every proposed amendment to the contract, and to refer the company to the committee if it makes any contact, any payment, any issue concerning payment amendment to the contract should stop until it comes to the committee and answer to the auditor's question. The representative Clarence Garguah said, so stop where you are. Boom. Here they are. You've been paid.
So when the road will get done now.
And the whole thing now. They one row here. They one row here. Look.
Our people are suffering for roads. They whole day from one bureaucracy to the other. What were they doing ever since? Since they got in power, what were they doing?
Living right here in Delaware. How many times construction in DC? The first one will get finished from there. Y'all start
you see the other man. You see they come and beat you again.
No, y'all stop it, man.
Why you?
We will not stop it. Let me defend myself, Mr. Gayman.
Go ahead.
That is going on in DC. The people already have roads. They just try to fix their roads and improve it every year. But that road, they've been facing that road since God knows when. When is it going to get done for our people to even be flying the road safely? You need for you go on in the RIA road you talk about, Mr. Gayman?
That's correct.
It's ridiculous. What were they doing ever since they couldn't come up with all of these things? What were they doing? It's almost 3 years into this government, and then now they're coming to come put a stop to the project. When is it going to get done? They're waiting for almost 2029 before? That's just ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. The lawmakers, like you said, Ray, they need to do their job. But it doesn't mean that the president is off the hook. This president gets what he wants.
But that's what I said.
He gets what he wants. Anything he wants, he get it. If you want to see, if the president, even in this war business, we cannot leave the president out, because guess what? He should have been on top of it. They came to rescue our people. They didn't come to get excuses here. They didn't come for excuse. They came to rescue. So I mean, at this point in time, they're putting a halt to everything. What were they doing from day one, from the beginning? I remember
be happy when they put on things like that.
On OK FM, and he made sure about that role that they were waiting for certain things to be done, and then they will start the construction process, and everything was in place according to what he said, and they were going to get started. So what a lawmaker then coming from? What were they sitting and doing? That's lapse in their duties. A lot of lapses in their duties. I will say that, and I've said what I've said. A lot of lapses in their duties.
Fire in the hole. Let me go to Victor. Mr. Nagbe. You and I were in Liberia over the holiday and into the new year. The president of the Republic of Liberia went to dedicate some lights.
Oh, this is just a political nonsense.
Hey.
Sorry for my friends.
The president of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Yuma Boakai, and his cabinet went to dedicate light on the RIA highway. We'll find out it was just 10 light poles on each side. And I was shocked. What they show us on television, what we saw, the photograph seems to be as though the whole from RIA to Monroe was lit. When I went, there was just a few light poles here and there. And I wondered, why is this? And now we are finding it out that the whole thing had just come to a complete stop because the folks have finally figured out that this is a scam.
Yeah, the legislature intervening and announcing hearing. The devil is in the details. I'm waiting to see what they come up with. To me, I hope it's not an attempt for them to squeeze these people and get the brown envelopes. Maybe the brown envelopes have stopped coming. But this is what we've been calling for.
The other way around, Victor.
I'm sorry?
116 million.
The other way around, going after political opponents.
That's possible too.
$116 million.
Yeah. So, but hearing oversight, I think that's part of their responsibility, and they should be doing that more often. Remember, I think this gone budget or so, there was so much money in there that they said they expended for hearing that we didn't know anything about. But yet, that is part of their responsibilities to call for hearing, call government officials to come into the Capitol building and justify some of the decisions. That is what they're supposed to do. So if this is the real intent of this is good. They need to get up and do something, because they have the right to reverse, some of these decisions that have been taken by some of these state enterprise, agencies. It is within the purview to do that. So my judgment on this is out until they come back, and let's see what comes of it. But as far as I can tell, based on the history of performance, this is nothing other than just an attempt to shake these people down, and leave some money in the Capitol building. And I hope I'll be wrong on this, But yeah, that's the take on that.
Hopefully.
Ture, it says here the audit found East International got $1.15 million was disbursed to East International without the completion certificate to the contract as required, and the payment variance, the difference, $577,808 between the figure reported by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Public Works. Those two ministries, those two agencies are working together, and they disperse this kinds of money. And the Senate is saying there's no way that we're going to disperse this kind of money. And the Public Work is blaming the Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance is blaming the Ministry of Public Work. That's a huge variance. Money just spent and nobody can give an account. The Ministry of Public Work said they received the money. They said they didn't receive it. Finance Minister said they released the money. I mean, just back and forth. What's going on here?
So yeah, there's Liberia has had corruption issue over the years, over the centuries, decades, even from its inception, Liberia have been dealing with corruption, and unfortunately, we've not had a nationally agreeable and intentional means to fight this very corruption we suffer from today, the corruption that took the lives of a lot of Liberians, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still going on, and I think to be fair, I think the president. I'm a voice to all the voices, like I said, double up his game and make sure that those people that are in power, that he has put in trust with these positions, they are doing the right thing and making sure that that money that is being spent for the people, they're all accounted for. Yeah, I commend the Senate on pausing the project for a good cause, hopefully, and but that should not be the bus stop. They have to go somewhere else. They got to go to other places. They got to go to other ministries. They got to go to, for example, there's no reason why, by now the Senate should be fully vested into the investigation of all kind of the whole drug thing. That they have an oversight power to say what's going on, what's in it, and also be very participatory into that as well. So that's one thing they can do. That you also do. They also need to be on the thing about LEC, water and sewer. The John F. Kennedy Hospital and stuff like that. So I think, like I said in my earlier point, it's true that the president has a great responsibility, and we should always ask him because he's the commander in chief per our constitution. But while we at it, we should not look at those lawmakers, the Senate, the representatives. We should not look at those people and just stay our sideways because we say, "Oh, the president," and no. We also have to call them, remind some of them to say, "Hey, this is your job. You have oversight responsibility, and please make sure you do your job the right way." And also make sure that we discourage the idea of somebody being prosecuted or retaliated upon because they said something that the government does not like, where the president can allegedly go there and take somebody out because they don't like the person, So hopefully these are things that we can put into perspective. But yeah, I think it's a good thing to pause it. Hopefully it's a good thing. Hopefully the contract was paused for a good reason and not a political one.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you very much for your comments. We are reading them. Stay engaged. Share the show. We want to welcome World House Chapel. I'm watching from the ATL. Anna Taylor, thank you very much for tuning in. We are going to actually read some of the things that you are saying. Today is Friday. By 8 o'clock, we have to let everybody go home and relax.
That's right.
Because this is the weekend. So we will be here until 8 o'clock and we will discuss those issues. Let me welcome the Honorable Robert Garguah Jr. How you doing there, Chief?
How you doing, Mr. Jerome? How's everything?
Man, we are having a great weekend today. I mean, we try to do our week in review, but we can't even go back to Monday because the news just keeps coming. I can't even go to Monday, Tuesday. Today alone, we can't cover. So since you are here, let me start this one with you. And this one here, I know a lot of folks going to be calling and kicking. But it says the headline, we go to the Liberia Investigator. It says, the weird generals now have come, or the weird general has been called to rescue the rescuers. It says the weird generals now have workers' defense, the NSA, and the LDEA. They're going back. This is in reference to the opposition said that the CDC was so incompetent. They had nobody. They didn't need to be there. In fact, you don't give a man's job to a boy or to boys. And now it says here, President Joseph Boakai had turned to the military establishment he inherited for his predecessor to rescue Liberia Troubled Drug Agency. And it says here, Liberia war on drugs have been handed to the general who ran George Weah's army, completing a transfer from the Defense Ministry, the Armed Forces, the Intelligence Services, and now the Liberia Anti-Narcotic Agency of the government elected to replace President Weah in the hands of the officer Weah promoted and brought to prominence. President Joseph Boakai announced late in August 10, that retired Major General Daniel D. Ziakan Jr., his military advisor and Weah defense minister for 6 years, would take over the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. He also named Precious Root Deputy Director General for Operation and Prince Morba Deputy Director General for Administration. All three assumed duty in an acting capacity until the Senate reconvenes. Ennis Tappet, an outgoing deputy, returned to the National Security Agency, where the director retired General Major Prince C. Johnson III. We have Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia. So here we are. We say in America, the comma is a B. I won't say it. You said these people were nothing. They were incompetent. They didn't know their hair from their teeth. And all of a sudden now, you are bringing them back to rescue you. This is the gist of this particular article, and it's deep. I mean, you are going back to your predecessors to come and rescue the rescuer.
This commentary is very funny. I'm sorry, I have to laugh.
Listen, go ahead, Robert Garguah.
Sorry, Robert.
This one is deep.
Listen, Mr. Jerome, I got to be fair on this one. I think that I will start by saying, and like I always say, there are good people and there are bad people in every society. In every administration, you would expect that there are bad apples. And I will remind the listeners, especially those who perpetrated this narrative that the CDC administration was incompetent because they felt like the president was incompetent. The president did not deserve to be at the executive mansion. The president is a footballer, and so that's his area. He should have stayed as a footballer, and so forth and so on. I think all of these things kind of drove this myopic mindset. That somehow, because you believe that the characteristic of a leader does not fit your criteria of whatever that's supposed to be, somehow his entire government was incompetent. I think is glaring now that that narrative was wildly politically driven, and it was untrue. Let's just put it that way. It was untrue, but at the time, it benefited the opposition. And this is my issue with some of my friends in government today. And I don't give a damn. They can accuse me of being sedition. They can accuse me of whatever. I don't care, right? But the fact is, their messaging is coming back to bite them. They are eating their own words because their perspective of things at the time was just to throw the kitchen sink at CDC and make CDC look like this thuggery, senseless administration filled with people that they consider seditious. And this is an insult to our general population. That somehow that everyone who is sedition is incompetent. Everyone associated with the president is somehow illiterate. Everyone associated with CDC, and this is what they marketed, to the point where some people that I knew behind closed doors were afraid to be associated with CDC, right? Because this is what the Unity Party propagandists sold to the general public. Having said that, I think I don't think I think these are professionals, and I think these the individuals that you mentioned. I think there's a distinct um, comparison here that we don't often see, and I will hope that other administration outside of the political narrative, the political story, every political party wants to control the narrative, right? Outside of that, I will hope that government can go back and say, listen, there are certain institutions that must not be touched. The military is one. The military, the CIA, not the CIA, but the what's the equivalent to the CIA? This
The
and the
NSA.
the NSA, the police, these security agencies should be held and managed by professionals with independent. They don't have to be partisans. They don't have to be partisans. They should be professionals. Their job should not be about propagating government policy or supporting government or supporting the next administration. It should be about protecting the peace and security of our country. There are certain in countries, professionals are in certain institutions for specific reasons. They are apolitical. And so I will give this administration some kudos here. That they saw it was to say, listen, time for politics is over. We are governing now. And in this moment in time, we need Liberian professionals, not necessarily former officials of the CDC administration or officials that were appointed by the president or confidant of the president's, whatever you may say. I see Daniel and the others are professional. They're professional folks, right? And in this moment, I think Liberia needs some stability at the LDA, some leadership at the LDA, some level of integrity at the LDA. And I think this is what he brings. This is the reason why I said the last time this was the savviest pick. This was a strategic pick, because you can't criticize this pick. You can. He does not come with noise. He has credibility. He has no corruption. He's not tinted. And I think this is what we should all embrace as a country. But would I blame the CDC propagandists for running with this narrative that the rescue has returned to the rescuers have been rescued? I won't blame them. This is all part of the politics, and they can run with the narrative. I think others within that party would agree that this Unity Party set the tone, and they're going back to pick individuals within a government that they characterize as incompetent. And I thought again it was wrong. Of course, there were bad apples within the CDC. There were people who were very dysfunctional, as we see under this Unity Party. There are people that are that are massively dysfunctional. There are criminals in this government. There are drug traffickers in this government. Would it be fair to say that the entire government is a field of drug dealers? I don't think it's fair, because they're also competent Liberians. They're also patriotic Liberians that are working diligently in their respective roles, and they're not bringing trouble to this administration. They're working to advance the president's policies and to protect his legacy and to give back to their country. And so I think it's unfair when we politicize an administration because we think that it benefits our political narrative. I think it's unfair. But I'm glad to see some of these Liberian professionals returning back to government to bring some level of stability as is needed right now.
Great. Let me go to I will leave Sarah Dopoh last on this one, because I know exactly where she's going. I can write the script. I can read it. So I'm gonna let her stay on this one. I don't know if Victor Nagbe is still having dinner. It's past his dinner time, so it's 7:22.
I'm still entitled to my opinion, though.
I understand. At 7:32, the tabatu is ready, the palm butter and rice is ready, and he just can't let it go. So Victor will give you the benefit of the doubt. Take your time. Don't worry. Drink some water, because that pepper. That pepper for the southeast is no joke. Let me go to Area too. Area, you're not too far from the southeast either. Your you eat as hot of food as the Garguah people. But you see the reason, Mr. Toure, we were talking about this maybe a week ago. The reason that the worker folks are struggling, we all know that drug is an international problem. President Trump is dropping bomb on every ocean to get rid of the drug issue. They are fighting it here. They're fighting it everywhere. But the Liberian opposition decided it was not an international issue. In fact, it was the president of the Republic of Liberia that was importing drugs. They said George Weah was importing Kush. They narrowed it down to him. So it became an albatross around his neck. Now that the drug issue is on their watch, they want us to believe that it is an international issue. And people are saying, no. We told you this in 2020. You told us it was the president done. So now it's so the albatross is now on Joseph Boyka's neck. So here we are. Now he wants us to believe that you bring in the best minds from everywhere. Something you've been advocating, right? But what happens to these minds that you have already tarnished? You said they were not qualified, they were not good people, you said all kinds of stuff. Did you want to bring them in?
Did Joseph Boyka bring in the best minds from everywhere?
No, at least the three he brought in, I think they are good.
Okay, then praise that. Let's talk about that.
No, but you said in the past that they were no good.
Okay, so that was yesterday, right? Oh. The wise men's changed, right?
Okay. Excellent. I like that.
No, but that's not. No. I think. Listen. I think I'll be remiss if I didn't check.
Okay. Go ahead.
Ibi, this is not how politics work.
What is the way forward?
No. But you can discuss the way forward when your time comes. What I am saying.
But it's my time, you guys. But it's my internet.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. So give me.
It's my time.
Okay, give me 30 seconds.
No. That 30 seconds are 2 minutes. I don't trust you.
Go ahead.
I don't trust you. Yeah, I
trust you. He trusts you.
No, let me have it.
You see, you do the city Joseph Boyka, then you tarnish the man's reputation. You said they were not good, even now you say you don't trust the man. Then you say the man should go and talk.
Look, listen. My point is, I concur with him that I think you want to be positive, and this is what we should all strive to be, positive, right? But you can't negate the fact that this is politics. People do dirty things. People are very deceptive. People get to power by way of lies, propaganda. No, it's a fact. Unity Party succeeded.
So if you know it's politics, doing that. Do these things. But why are you complaining? Can you?
But I think we can do both. We can address the deception that Unity Party exhibited to get to power. But we can also say, hopefully, now that they've gone back to bring in professional Liberians that were part of an administration that they branded incapable, right, illiterate, and uneducated, I'm glad that there are people within that administration that they now deem capable and competent enough to form part of their government to serve the Liberian people. That's good. We can talk about that, but we can also miss the fact that these were the very people who branded we as citizens as incompetent, illiterate, and unfit to lead the country. So you can do both, but that's politics.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay. So my point I'm trying to make is this: where do we go from here? Because the same thing.
Tell us.
The way we go from here is, listen, like you did earlier, commend them for the good they've done by bringing the very people from the other eye to come on the board to work. The professional guys recognize that, and let's see what happens. Because if we keep going back, John Brown did it, so I will do it. It's the same thing that been holding us back. We have acknowledged that it brought the professional Liberians to come and curtail the situation. They are looking into it. Give them kudos on that. Let's forge ahead. Let's look at what's ahead of us. Going back, we'll just be digging old wounds, and we don't even have the medication to address old wounds. And I'm not going to talk much on this thing because this thing is like, it's like a broken record. My thing is, let's move forward. Period. Your mute time is like, Gayman.
Let me welcome Riverside Pro, the gentleman who has carved his own enclave for the state, great state of Wisconsin. He called his own neighborhood Riverside. So the man I bring a bunch of people saying the Niji thing into the people country. He called him on a place small Riverside in Wisconsin. Welcome to the show, Riverside Pro. Honorable Pewee, you know, the old folks, and I think this is one parallel that crosses across all border and all tribal and all culture. They say do not burn the bridge, right? Because you just don't know whether you will want to cross that river backward. The opposition have tarnished all sedition as incompetent, rogues, drug dealers. I mean, you name it, like Honorable Robert Garguah saying, they were so successful that they were even sedition that they now want to associate with their own party because they waited until the opposition framed who they were. Unfortunately, they didn't respond until they became untouchables, right? Now, Joseph Walker is bringing these untouchables now telling us that these guys don't listen. According to Ray, that was then. They were untouchable, but now, you know, they are good people. They are qualified people. They can get us out of this quagmire. And people are saying, so which one, Joseph Walker, should we believe? These guys were incompetent and rockish and undependable, unreliable. Today, you are telling us we should leave all of that behind now and look at that as angel. This is why we say trust in the institution has become issues because those who are leading the institution are not consistent. Your take?
Yes, they're not consistent, and consistency is part of, you know, the reason why public confidence, public trust is being eroded is from the basis of our own leaders from yesterday, today, that are trying themselves to create the room for these things to unfold consistently. And that's part of the reason why you see sometimes from the security sector, you see police officers, immigration officers are loyal to the political establishment. It should not be the case, right? We need to have folks loyal to the state and the institution. But the level of the competence issue, you know, everything the United Party folks indulged into during the political time was all about propaganda, was about attack, and now reality is sinking in now. If you said someone was incompetent yesterday, they should still be incompetent today, right? That's one of the role to play. But to see the way to do things, and I think their own debate is that that's the security sector. And I saw one of them posting the last time saying that, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf trained Zianga. That was the debate from Mo Ali. Ellen trained Zianga. He was the first chief of staff. Prince Johnson was the first deputy chief of staff, and the rest of that honor Ellen. And no, was it Prince Johnson was the first? Something like that in our land, deputy chief of staff. Then he came chief of staff, and all those things. But the problem, therefore, here is that these are people that you said the level, the time they're associated, because all these people are associated with the we administration and play a very critical role. Prince Johnson was the chief of staff of the army. It was unfortunate that when he came, they brought him as Minister of Defense. Later on, there was some issue that took him as the number one spy institution of the country. But the problem, Mr. Gayman, is that we as people, we have to change from the way we look at things that we are not in power. President Sirleaf said this. She said when Taylor was the president, she saw everything about Taylor and his associate to be terrible. And when she came there, she didn't know the same thing she said about Taylor as the same thing started to happen. So if you are not there, and what Taylor said the presidency is if you are sitting outside, you think it's just easy. Just come to and sit on to the play here. You'll see. So they're not seeing the reality that the same people they said that Dopoh were incompetent, people trying coming to help the system, to revive the system. Now you have you feel completely on the drugs war. You appointed to you, Seleke Kromah, his team came fight, boom, in no time he got them up. You appointed the other fellow, boom, the guy said he said the whole country is connected to drugs. He got vet, the fire hit, he brought another person, poof, then you brought the officer in charge. That officer in charge, did I even say this? But that officer in charge confirmed what the other guy said. Fofana said, Fofana had to call his last name. What we said people inside the system connected. The officer in charge proved that by taking the SUV. Oh, then you come out and tell the people, say that's some moral decadent issues. Yeah, many do nothing wrong. They're morally, there's some moral faction here. He did something morally not correct, but we let him go sit down. Come on, are you serious? So this is telling us, gentlemen, that the regime, and if we're to always come to say we're trying to attack them, not knowing our intent to attack will be very unfair to them. For me, I know the whole mission now. The mission here is that they know what they are doing. They know that they are big hands that are into this, but they will pretend. So they know now they're not going to move forward this again. They think it's a moral thing. If you put in the next thing, they will say this man was a church boy. He made a mistake. So they will stop now. They're not going to go further. If in the attempt for them to go further, you hear a very powerful name that we're hearing behind the scene. I don't want to call name. I don't want to say name, but I don't want to spark the country into problem. But some things we're hearing, and and that's the reason why they say Biago was involved in some that small moral thing he did, not correct, because you cannot push any serious government. Why you think he was delisted from coming here by the U.S. government immediately? Because they knew they're invested. They know very well he did some things, right? So if you will say the man did that, so the incompetent people will have to come now and fill the gap for the competent people. Imagine if you were to be taking competent people out of job now and bringing the incompetent to fill the gap. Where are we headed? You are removing the competent people and bringing the incompetent to fill the gap. So there's some problem here that the people will have to answer 2029. I think the drug situation, we're not going to be the folk will try to put a foot on some things, right? And these things will move the way we'll move, but we guarantee anything substantial to say they're going to do anything. No. So what they're going to do now is, and the good thing for them now is that they're bringing people with repetition that have built repetition over the years. Zianga worked as Minister of Defense for the WEA government for 6 years. He commanded a lot of international respect. The U.S. government, other people, you are bringing him back to her. I mean, he's coming with the morale, the respect, and the level of coordination from international partners as well. You are bringing in these people to come and help also. The man that served as the chief of staff on the WEA administration is currently the chief spy, heading the chief spy institution of the country that is being reliably given some massive and major intelligence that is helping to unearth these things that are happening in the country. That is also critical. The credential of the credential of these people, the portfolio, the reputational credential is very paramount in international diplomacy. So it's part of what the network process is all going on. But the good part of it, I will end on this note, is that those that are very competent cannot get the job done. they will have to go back and take the one that are incompetent to get the job done. So this is saying to them that what you say yesterday were all utterly nonsense. It was just propaganda. Now propaganda can go so far and just stop you, but then the reality sink in. You have to come back to a realistic issue about governance. Governance is not about propaganda. Governance is about reality, and the reality came in about the drug situation that exposed them, and there where the exposure is now. And it's going to be a very serious problem. I would think that they will not move forward on that, but this drug situation will be the reason why the Unity Party will be put out of office.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today is Friday. I'm about to go to Sarah, but the joke of the day is from Joma Jala. Joma Jala said the US FDA is about to go and unbury to dig Mongil mother's grave.
That should not be funny though.
Listen,
I know
that's not.
Listen, it's funny.
Why you say that?
No, it should not. We should not. No, we cannot.
That
should not be funny.
Yeah.
Juma Jara, my dear brother Juma Jara, I would love for you to know this, that my gay mother, you got a mother too. I don't know if your mother is still alive. You
Right.
You
can't even laugh about it.
No, but there should be some limit about these things.
Yeah.
That's somebody's dear mother that you can say that, Juma. We all laugh about things like that. I would just say things that you, I mean, nobody in a reasonable mind will want to do that. We should have some level of.
I really wish they had making hard that comment.
We have some level of respect.
Yeah, I wish they had making hard that comment.
No, we can't sanction. We can't sanction.
No. There are certain. There are certain.
Joma Jala said this in jest. They have to say it, and
it doesn't work. They can't do that. That's someone's mother, and that's their respect.
He's talking about where she's. Okay, let's go to Sarah. Sarah.
Yes, sir.
Bingo. I think you hit the jackpot on this one. It's all yours.
But the thing is, Unity Party people, hypocrisy, amnesia, everything giving them harder. 6 years ago, they were all on the Facebook. You're telling people we are inept, the government officials inept. Nobody knows both, but then they are the professionals. Come to find out, 6 years later, they in power. Bingo. They're bringing the scene. Inept people to run the government. That's ridiculous and that's shameful. And just like you guys have said, it's time that we step away from this kind of politics and propaganda. It's not helping our country. It is not. Just because you are not in position of power doesn't mean you should denigrate other people. It doesn't mean that way. People give people flowers when it's due to them. Unity Party people, you got people there in your government and I know book too. And we can see, let me put it in my simple English because me have no book like you. We can see what is happening right now. You're using our country as a drug hub. Where is the education? Where is the book that you know? You use our people, our country, our land to bring almost 500 million drugs in our country. And that man was saying it, Kalanda was saying it the other day. No drug law will bring up a drug. That amount of drug in a country when they don't have somebody senior in our government that gave them the surety. Nobody will do that. And you come here, you want to lecture on, and I'll see our brother today say, oh, yeah, we will move on. But we'll tell them the truth. We will tell them the truth. This hypocrisy needs to stop. If we want our country to go forward, if somebody is qualified for the job, say it. If they are not qualified, it's okay. But you can't come and condemn a whole government. They don't know anything. They inept. And then today you in power, you're doing worse. Then you want people to praise you. And then you bring the same old people that were in the government that you said they didn't know anything to serve in your government. How does that make you look like? So this is where we are. Let's step away from this kind of dishonest politics and be honest to our people. And this goes to Mo Ali because he's one of those who can come on the blue app here and lie to people. Put a picture of Sandy Kole, AI video, AI picture on Facebook of Sandy Kole. We all know Sandy Kole is being developed, but you don't have to put an AI video on Facebook to convince people. That's dishonesty. And you want us to take you serious? You don't have to do all that. Be honest to the Liberian people. if they will vote you in power in the next 6 years, they will, based on your honesty, not on your dishonesty. These guys are dishonest, and we need to call it out as it is. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Jerome,
yeah, go ahead, Robert.
I didn't want to.
Victor went to hide his dinner. It took him a while. He's back now.
Yeah, I didn't.
Robert, go ahead real quick.
I didn't want to highlight Jomo Jala because what he said was complete nonsense, and very distasteful.
And we're blocking on that page if you continue to talk.
No, you can't block.
No, we're not gonna block him. But I agree with Abby.
I won't get under his skin. You know him.
I agree with Abby and Sylvester. But I just read a comment that he posted to justify his distasteful comment that I have said demeaning things of the president. I've never. And Jomo Jala, unlike you Unity Party folks, I let me remind you who have said distasteful things of the president. I'm not a hypocrite, Jomo Jala. And I don't know both like your Unity Party people, but I'm well educated.
They claim to know everything that they talking about.
And I'm very articulate. And so I don't need to say demeaning things to get my point across. But let me remind you, the person that have actually said demeaning things of the president is the same person who is now defending those things being said about the president that he said many years ago. And that person is your deputy information minister, Daniel Sando. He was the one who said that, and I quote, the state does not have funding for state funeral. And he was referring to Joseph Boakai. He was the one who said that Joseph Boakai was old and useless. Unquote. He was the one who said that Joseph Boakai is corrupt and has squandered multiple opportunities. Unquote. He was the one who said that Joseph Boakai needed to retire because he was very dysfunctional. Unquote.
They may want to read all this.
I mean, it's the multiple of them. I didn't say those things about the president. I've never said those things about the president. I would never say anything denigrating or disrespectful to the office of the president, even if I don't fancy the president. I don't agree with Unity Party based on the issues, not based on emotions and hate. I think that there are a lot of people within the Unity Party who allow their emotion and dislike and hate for the president, the former president George Weah, right? To say the things that not only said about George Weah, but people around George Weah. The very people who they begged for rent. Don't act like we don't know the facts. We just don't say it. But the so-called big people now that you're talking about, those people were begging to get rent paid.
Exactly so.
We were in these rooms when these things were happening. Some of the time we were on phone calls when these requests were being made. So I'm not the one who said demeaning things of the president. I would never do that. I would disagree with you. I would disagree with the president, and I would articulate them on the issues and not personal. The person that have said demeaning things of the president that should be checked is your deputy information minister, who is now defending and insulting people for being critical of the government. The very things he said, he cussed Joseph Boakai out. I didn't do that. He did that, and he's not cussing people out who's been critical of the government on the issues. He didn't criticize Joseph Boakai on the issues. He didn't debate the issues. He insulted the president. So right. He's the guy who said the main thing to the president. I mean, now, if you show one instance, go back to the record where I've said any the meaning of the president, please share that on the platform. We'll play that, and I'll apologize. But that's not within my character. That would never be within my character. And I think it was wrong of you to say what you just said about somebody's mother. And I think you should be man enough to apologize and not throw blame and not try to do the things you.
Oh, don't worry about it. He's not going to apologize.
But go ahead, Mr. Nagbe. I'm sorry.
They are very vindictive and feel entitled. He's not going to apologize. Don't worry about it.
Sarah, I know you are on fire. But
let
me go to my brother from the side. He just came from having his dinner. He's all right now. He's on fire. Honorable Nagbe, We have, look at Joseph Boyka is bringing back the cavalry from the old order, the one that he said they were incompetent, they were no good, they had no idea, they were blah, blah, blah. He brought not people, not members of the bench, he brought the whole squad back to help him. Finally, after 5 tries, for his own party, finally he said, well, let me go back to those guys and bring them, so that brought Zianga and these other guys on to actually rescue the rescuer. And to raise him, that's a good move. We should applaud the president.
Well, I was in the back actually previewing my Philadelphia Eagles. We're getting ready to take on the Ravens tomorrow on our preseason opener. And so I'm looking
I pray that there's no injury, that it goes over well.
When are you starting? This one, right?
Hopefully not.
It starts tomorrow.
Well, the preseason is this month. The actual starts September. That's when the real game is. So I'm looking at my sling.
The Premier League starts next week.
Yeah. So
next week. I thought it's the 21st.
Victor follows this posting religiously.
Next week will be okay. Okay, today's okay. Yeah, today's
today's the 14th.
I like that.
Yeah. But look, the president.
No, today not the 15th.
Today the 14th.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Chief.
Okay, no, I was going to say, you said the president is bringing back the old squad. I don't know to what extent this squad is helping the president. I think people like Daniel Sando, who are a total liability to this government. He not doing his job is part of the reason why the government is suffering. The government is doing some things that they're not showcasing, they're not talking about, they're not explaining to the people. So it seems as though they're doing nothing at all. And we're not going to go out there and toot their horns. No, we won't. It is Daniel Sando's job to tell us what the government is doing. That's his job. Instead, he mounts the podium every day. He wants to show he's a brainiac. He wants to show that, he's the most educated man in Liberia, and he goes out there and talks nonsense all the time. But he's leaving out what he's really supposed to be doing, explaining to us what this government is doing. There are some things this government is doing. It is his job to bring those to the fore that we may not be aware of and explain to us. Reestablishing a relationship with India after 35 years. I'm sure there's something good in there that this government could explain to us through the Minister of Information, through Daniel Sando and Jerome Pewee. When Jerome Pewee is now watching, the soccer game in his office, and probably
just dedicated comment on it today. He should be telling about that too.
That's what they should be telling us, and they go on Cash Reloaded, and they go to the mention man who, who got the biggest whatever, instead of they telling us what it is they're doing at their various agencies. That's what they do. The president shut up, oh my man, your own be my man, my own bigger than yours, and they let them continue to sit over there and fool themselves, feeling each other. You understand me? They should be telling us what the government is doing. That's what they should be doing, but they're not doing that. They assemble over there, they admire each other, and praise each other, and all of that foolishness. And they think they're helping themselves. Well, look where we are, and look at them. I mean, I don't know if we were taking real opinion polls in Liberia, they might be in the negative, this government, because people don't understand what this government is doing. Maybe they're not doing much, but I think there are some little things that they're doing that they need to take time to explain, Josiah Joker, I thought he was going to make a difference in there. How about introducing, stringent performance review? You employ the person, you put them on the 6 months, every now and then you review the performance and check that against the TOR. Remember, there was a time when the government launched I think performance something that not Quabo was supposed to be undertaking, I think October of last year or so. I don't know what has happened to that, but they're falling on the sword on their communication. The things they're supposed to be communicating, they're not. And the people who are supposed to be communicating on their behalf, they're preoccupied with all this foolishness, this childishness. They think they're still under the palaver hut at the University of Liberia. They mount the podium instead of telling us something substantive. They come over there and break and brag, telling us foolishness. Bunch of little kids, bunch of little kids. I think they're enamored by the wealth that they've come into. They don't know what to do with it. They're smelling their ass. They come over there and feeling themselves, and they're feeling the government. If I were Joseph Walker, I would sweep them and send them where they belong, but he will not do it. So such is the time and such is our situation. Daniel Sando came on here. We tried to advise him. I told him I don't like your addiction. You can do better than this. But maybe that's part of his problem. Maybe addiction is so limited. He's probably only he remembers the cursing than the praise words. But there's always the opposite to every word. I wish he would find the opposite word, take his time and explain to her what the government is doing. But unfortunately, I'm here to inform you that we were in the Bronx yesterday. That's why I wasn't with you guys. Had a great time. Retail politicking, I think is the best kind of politicking, where you sit in intimate settings with the people, and you really get to talk to them, understand, the real problems. You're not on the podium, and sweeping over the vast majority of people. So it was a great time in the Bronx yesterday, Musa Zambility. He said some things, and I'll pass it on to you quickly. There's some things he put out there, and I was really impressed by this young fellow. Look, he said to us yesterday, right? Most of our neighbors, Guinea or Mali, I believe Niger or Burkina Faso, one of them, I got to go and check it out. But he said most of these countries, their capitals are closer to Liberia than their ports are to their capitals. Check that out, and I will check the map. He said we could really arrange with these people. He said Mali is landlocked. We could arrange with these people so that we give them access through our port. They bring their goods through our port, and we give them passage, and they take their goods into their country. Imagine the amount of money we're going to make. He said you take that whole from battery factory over there, clean that place out. And, maybe $20 million can resettle those people. Not like the Fiamomo they're doing right now. They got to bring bulldozer and can't bulldozer people. You really settle the people, build a little high rise or something, or a little estate, put those people in there, cut that out, and give Mali, Guinea, just the transporting their goods through the port, the amount of money will raise. I didn't know. He said it brings in about 200, I believe, 45,000 containers a year or something like that. And the shipping agents, they're walking away with almost $500 million. Nothing goes to the government. So we're leaving a lot on the table, and we're busy running around. We want a decentralized port so that what? So Sekou Dougle cannot run for the, even if he ran and won, what difference is Sekou Dougle going to bring into the legislature based on what he's doing at the port? We spent so many months debating decentralizing the port. Where is the revenue that's coming out of the port? Instead of the port bringing in revenue, I understand we're giving Sekou Dougle money from the budget. These are some of the things that they should be worrying about. But when you come out here and you talk, they go on their cash reloaded, they call you stupid. They're the smartest guys in the room. Good for them. 2029 can come fast enough. We will throw the bombs out. That's where they belong. Throw them out. Let them go back where they were. But it's great to be with you. Friday, I believe it is. That was my closing. I hope to be back with you guys on Monday. Fresh. Join us this weekend. Don't forget, we'll be in Philadelphia tomorrow. We'll be on 59th Street, and we'll be enjoying ourselves and also recruiting a lot of Philadelphians. CMC is on the move. Join us. Together, we rise. Mr. Ture.
Yeah, so
thank you very much, Mr. Nagbe.
Mr. Nagbe, don't go.
We're going to close at 8, so go ahead, Ture, do your closing.
Yeah, Mr. Nagbe, don't go. I just want to test.
Listen, Nagbe, you are under the instruction of Tuare. He says,
okay, please don't go.
Stay.
Please don't go.
There you go.
All right, Warning. Y'all free Opa Yezon prophet. So now I'm the one in. All right, I'm inside. Go ahead.
You're under arrest.
Opa was violated long ago. I don't know why they're just freeing this guy. But anyways, I think you missed some points. For example, I'm very careful how to speak to this young Daniel Sando guy issue, because not because I agree with what he did. I think what he did was irresponsible. I think as a young person, you got to learn your ways around the place. Darius Dillon was by age, when he was into doing all this kind of stuff around here. For example, Lord Burke had a paralegal, later went to the Senate, out to the Judge Howard Taylor, and Dillon advised him the other day. Some great advice, and I learned from that. But I'm very careful how to. I want to be careful how I call my young brother out. because I feel like for the few of us, that's him, that's Ankara, the Minister of Sports, Youth and Sports, and the other young leaders that are in government. I'm very careful how to call them out when they make a mistake. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's wrong, but I give them a little grace because they are the true representation of our age. I'm older than Daniel Sanders about 2 years, okay, but they are the true representation of our age, right? So what we do is, yes, when young people have power, they get like, in a society where there's no like accountability and we just talk across the board, there's no policy in place, nobody's held accountable for what they say. I can see how they can be so, position drunk and just talk foolishly. So I'm not going to sit here, and I want to give him all the grace that he needs as a young man. Hopefully he grows from that, because when we start to resent him or reject him, we're not just rejecting him, we're just other young people that could be, be in those positions. Because if the older people cannot trust us.
So, Aaron, you'll continue. Just give me 5 seconds of your time, please. This is one of the ways you can get to him. If you can get to Daniel Sanders directly, you can get to Jerome Pewee or Mo Ali. You understand me? They should stop going on social media and praise singing this fool. You understand me? He did that when he said that nonsense that he said recently to Amara Kone. His own boss man, Jerome Pewee, posted a celebrated note for him on his behalf. In less than two hours, a guy over 700 comments. All of them were honoring, but who is wrong? They're being fire for fire. Nonsense.
That's true.
You think we're still on the university campus?
That's true. So yes. So these are mistakes that young leaders will make. I've made a lot of mistakes, in as a young person in positions of stuff like that before. But I learned from those mistakes, and I said, "Oh wow, I really wish there was another way to handle this mistake." Right? But long story short, to the Daniel Sanders guy, I'm very careful. I hope he learns from it. I hope he just, don't think we are noise makers, and we just sit up behind microphone, just talk nonsense every day. I hope you take it with the importance that this has, and pivot for next time, because you don't want to spoil the image of young people in such position for future people that might want to give us the opportunity. Right now, more than people will know, I said with honorability more than people would know, and the lack of female honorability. These are people who I always feel, if Liberia should go anywhere further, you need a patriotic businessman who know what they're doing to take that country from one step to another. These are two guys who have built something from scratch. Unlike, and this is, please, the Cummins people, I'm not shooting at you. Cummins has not built no successful business from scratch.
Don't worry, you're not yet. You're not yet. Go ahead.
Right. He had not built no successful business from scratch. However, he had the skills in management.
Hopefully.
That we know of. I'm sorry.
Cummins has a school. He has a school in Liberia.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. So
that's a business from scratch.
Okay, like I said, I want to be
and while you continue, he also has refused. I think he has 2 other businesses that he said he will not disclose because he worried about.
We gotta go.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Tim.
They keep me interrupting, but no problem.
Again,
who said he was gone?
Again.
He was so big to the Bronx. He came from the Bronx and everything.
Okay.
Go ahead, man.
Okay, forgive my ignorance. Again, it happens. They all have to do with PR people. We don't know these things. At least for me, I don't know, right? But forgive my ignorance, Mr. Cummins, and to your surrogates and your supporters, right? I didn't know this, right? But competitively, doing business in Liberia for a long time, people like Samuel Freeman, Musa Hassan Bulletin, they are people who have built something that have been there for years, right? They have become millionaires from those things. So they prove to us they understand Liberia system, how to make it work.
Come on.
I mean, I can tell you again, my man.
Go ahead.
But yeah, you were talking about going, but you want to interrupt me. What you see, this man has he has a way of trying to make me lose my train of thought, but I'm not doing it today.
The man pushing you. That's what the man doing.
I get it, bro. My pastor, brother.
I'm gonna say you come here, man, start pushing you too.
No, bro, I gotta refer your pastor cut because you my side, brother. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is this, right? I've sit with not comments, ability more than anybody on the platform will know. And I believe in his ideas. I feel like the mindset of the life ability down are what we need to move Liberia forward. If only when they get there, they will do what they say they're going to do, right? So just to piggyback on your point, I enjoy what you said about ability. I think that's a salient, and I never had this conversation with him before when it comes to that. We had discussed the airport, we had discussed other things in Liberia, how to transfer and bring value to the country and money. But we never had to have I discussed with this whole thing about the seaport and stuff like that. It's a great point. I think Liberia should look into that. If the ruling party can just pay attention, to learn a lot how to face this government just by how opposition criticizes them, instead of going back and type of tension, cussing people who don't agree with them. But with that said, I know this is my closing comment. I want to say thank you to everybody here. And I hope that we can do it next Monday, hopefully, and sorry if I offended the communist people or other people, but I spoke out of ignorance. Clearly, I did not know. Now I know. So next time I'll be better.
Thank you. Let me let the queen go before she accused me. Or you want to go last?
I don't really have a lot to say other than to.
I'm asking you want to go first or you want to go last?
I want to go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Like I said, I don't really have a lot to say. Oh, what are you doing? I don't really have a lot to say. You guys have said everything.
Don't go, Sarah Dopoh. I heard it before. You didn't fall down, right?
No, it was my son. No.
Your son fell. Okay, go ahead.
He didn't fall. He hit something. Like I said, you guys have said everything. Let us get away from this hypocrisy in our politics. If we want for Liberia to move forward, let's be honest in our politics. Let's, do what we need to do to encourage our people. At the end of the day, regardless of what we say here, 2029, the Liberian people will vote for who they want to vote for. You can laugh on that to Judgment Day. Yeah, you laugh with rest of there were some people, don't get me wrong, but the vast majority of the people that are going through the pinch of what's going on in our country, they will think and say no. So Jomajara, you can be out there in the comment section, be talking all kinds of things about me, not your business. My skin thick. Nothing can move me. Your cousin can move me. It can't do nothing to me. You curse me, I curse you, we move. And you tell your own, I tell my own, we move. So thank you guys for the show. We'll be here again to do it tomorrow. Thank you.
You mean Monday?
Oh, Monday, whatever.
Well, let be honest. Joe Majara doesn't abuse anybody here. So
I'm not talking about him specifically. He got the cat door there too.
Yeah, I don't defend my brother. He doesn't.
But isn't it why Jama is writing here? Isn't that
he doesn't cause, but
right?
he disrespects people. He did that to me on my page, on my personal page, on my beautiful picture, and I had to delete a comment.
There you go. On my beautiful picture.
Yes.
I understand. Yes. Robert Garguah, go ahead. Close.
I saw Sylvester here. Sylvester, you want to close before me?
No, if you want, I can close. I don't have the issue with that. You want me loud? Okay. Let me go quickly. Let me say quickly.
Part of the management, so let me
say no.
My man, you're not waving. You're not waving. Go ahead, Pewee. Don't listen to you.
So you say about with my
he waving to you.
Let me say this quickly. Yeah, that it was a great show on a serious note. But again, I will. And sorry, Pewee, if you think I can always make you. I hope you don't forget your train of thought. I know you can forget. You won't say that.
I've been messing with you.
But I know clearly that you ought to be very clear and to tell us the side you really want to stand on. Or because the men are young, they are your friend. You can't school them too, but then other people will not be encouraged to do it. So you're not encourage other people even to do the right thing. If folks are young and they got responsibility and they are misstepping the trend, it's appropriate that we converse and within the same generational era to come and scold them or to correct them, course correct.
Right? Why do you think that you're not justice?
Hey, my man, you're not close.
I closed down, but I call my attention now.
No, but let the man talk. You're not talking your own.
What that does to say to
you finish talking your own, brother.
You are interrupting me, Mr. Nagbe, my witness. You do, Mr. Nagbe, agree with me when you're telling witness this one. You're interrupting me.
Who are interrupting you?
Him, the Pewee man.
No, don't listen to him. This man want to be here all day.
You see, if now you interrupt me, I'm not saying nothing. Yesterday, you try again, start going here. I can just check you, so now you won't. Oh yeah, and see some problem. But back to the issue, I think if your man is your friend, and I know other you guys. Again, I don't think it's, and that's one of the reasons why I still believe that the ethnic card is still deeply playing Liberia. The ethnic card do really still playing Liberia. I believe you're so sympathetic, and that sentiments that you're trying to draw here is because of the Basel sentiment, right? He's your friend, all of things. Bringing some of those points out. But we ought to call a spade a spade. Daniel Sano reckless outburst on the senator of a sitting county. It's not really unacceptable, but it should be called out rightly. My only little disappointment is that I thought Kamara shouldn't have given any notoriety by responding to him. That was a little mistake on the part of Kamara.
True.
And I thought, and Kamara probably may have done that because how he sounded, that's being rude and disrespectful. In some serious dispensation, the Liberian Senate will even call for his suspension, or they will stop doing work of the government. But again, if you have some puppet creature playing certain role in certain area, it'll be difficult. The Senate there is most of those people that are presiding, the administrator, the pro tem, or some. These are people that are there because of the very largesse of the system. So it's going to be difficult for some of these things to happen. When Koga was openly heckled and disrespected by the police chief, nothing unfolded. The pro tem sat there like you have one remote control puppet controlling from place, right? So, but I think the statement from the young people, if they are performing, they don't want to perform their responsibility, and we ought to call them up and action be taken. Daniel Sando is now posting on his Facebook page. The president went and visited their office today. Shook, oh, thank you, Mr. President. So if the president would take a time to go visit a deputy minister that is involved in reactionary tendency, insulting people, then we had a problem. Reactionary tendency. But the Minister of Information are not reacting. They are not involved into massive public relation outreach. If you read the statutory responsibility of the Ministry of Information, it says the ministry shall engage into massive public relation outreach, informing the Liberian people of governance in the country, informing them and keeping them up to date, telling them about the workings of government, all structure of the government. But trust me, you only see the ministry having press conference to react to. But one of their own senators, Senator Dahn, said it. The government, I mean, that is not the case. So for the president to go there and do this today, they got some major. After the president will take that time and go visit JFK to see what's happening there. How that young lady that the surgery didn't go well. After the president will take time and visit those makeshift schools around the MCSS schools. When you took time to go and visit a bunch of incompetent, loose counters.
You probably want to advise them or talk to them.
No, you don't do that.
No, I don't.
You don't do that. So, but for me, that's why I see. I think the future of the country is going to be very bleak because, trust me, if those other people were to come back to power, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to project it, so we need people to tear away. Because you see, they come out of power. Look, there will be people that have been over the airport. Is that what the country is going to be in? Is that what the country is going to be in? Trust me. There will be some people deployed to be dealing with Baka every day. Is that what the country want to see? Definitely that's going to happen. And I don't see Baka coming back. Listen, Baka is going to be something 82 this year. Next year, 83. 84. Election year, he said he's going to be 85 years old. In terms of his strength, Baka is going to further deteriorate. We don't have to sugarcoat this. There are places, normally, and I don't want to argue on that. They have to bring that, that little mini scaffold they created. But after buffer for the person to disembark.
Yeah, but Pewee, why if you tell you, but I'm younger than Paul Biya?
Younger than Paul Biya. We don't have a real democracy in Cameroon. Paul Biya, that's a different thing. Paul Biya,
what's a fake democracy and real democracy? You told me yesterday,
No.
I will get in on that note. Let me end. In Cameroon, Paul Biya contested.
Do they have election?
Listen, in Cameroon, Paul Biya contested all elections.
Let him end his statement.
Is not telling you that real democracy in Cameroon?
What the forced democracy? The people can go to vote. They can vote a leader, yeah? Do they put the leaders?
Let me tell you this now. The Minister of Interior, let me tell this to you. The Minister of Interior in Cameroon is the chairman of the election. He announced the results.
My brother.
He condoned the election. He announced the result. That's something serious there.
Do they go to
Hey,
court?
man, let me go. Don't
No,
do that.
no. I think you would have seen rope that hanging when I said like, bro.
No, that brother, it's working. It's working. It's working. And that brother democracy is working quickly. That's the reason why Joseph Boga is president today.
Listen.
No, it's not working.
Listen, guys. Okay. Robert Garguah, real quick before you close, let me read this here. It said, Liberians who criticize President Joseph Boakai government in public are often answered not with information, but with an attack delivered from the platform the taxpayer pays for by an official whose job is to explain government policy instead attacks. You can close.
Yeah, because they don't understand. I don't think. I asked a question. What would Daniel Sanvee be today if Amara Conan did not play the role that he played in getting Unity Party elected? And so when we just looked at what he said, there you go. When we just look at what he said, like when you talk about relevancy, right? Amara Conan remains more relevant than Daniel Sanvee will ever be in his entire life. Because the rooms and Amara Conan has been in, and the things he's done, the impact he's made, of course imperfect, but no one has gone after Daniel Sanvee to make those kinds of impacts. So I don't understand how he's understanding what he's saying about relevancy. Amara Conan, there were no Unity Party insider looking at people like Daniel Sanvee to help secure an election. No, that wasn't the case. He wasn't the one doing these interviews. He wasn't the one updating the president, the president, the stand-up bearer at the time. No, he wasn't. He wasn't the one on Spawn that night when the announcement was when the election was announced. It was Amara Conan. So he was part of the campaign when they didn't win the first round. Amara Conan wasn't a part of that. So what relevancy is he talking about? You know what I'm saying? And so what would he be today if Amara Conan did not play an integral role that Daniel Sanvee did not even come close to playing, or was even considered playing? If the Unity Party had not won the elections, I wonder where he would be today. So when it comes to relevancy, some of what he says a lot of times don't make sense. But I want to just say to Turi, and I think again I like your approach, because you mentioned that this was probably a mistake, and you're hoping that he goes back to the drawing board in hindsight, do it differently. But this is not a mistake. When something is done repetitively, it goes beyond a mistake at this point. It becomes a core character of a person, right? It becomes an ingrained habit. This is part of who you are at this point. A mistake is something that happened 1 or 2 times, and you say, you know what? I think I need to go back and look at this differently. I regret why I did this. This is a mistake. You know what I'm saying? But if you keep doing it and this becomes part of who you are, then this is who you are. And I truly believe that this is who Daniel Sanvee is. This is a very guy who came on this platform, and he came, and instead of discussing the issue, this guy was talking about, why am I wearing a necklace? Can you imagine? Talking about what real man wear necklace? Can you imagine?
Nah, you didn't say that, did he?
Yeah, you did. Yes, he did. Well, let's go back and watch the tip. He said, "Why am I wearing necklace in my chest? My necklace is open on my chest." Can you imagine that kind of thing?
Well, I think he was being funny. He was joking.
No, but the point that I'm making is,
but Dwayne was defending man.
The point that I'm making, he's trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's
exactly
fine. The point that I'm making is, it's difficult to give a man like that the benefit of the doubt when he has exhibited over and over and again, whenever he mount a platform or a podium where serious issues should be discussed as per his job description, right? He goes and start to talk things that brings a negative attention to the president and the
I blame the
office.
CSA.
You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
too real, let the man close.
And
Jeez.
so I don't think that's the case. I heard today the president was taking to go dedicate restroom facilities. And I just want to say,
Same thing they criticize other governments for.
thank you. They said George Weah was so less busy, and this is what Ture don't want us to say, but it's difficult not to say because when a government criticizes something that was done by the other government on grounds that that government was less busy and incompetent, then it raises a lot of questions when the busy and competent president is doing almost the same thing. So who is busier than the other? Because if the president was less busy and he dedicated things that he shouldn't have dedicated, then this president should be so busy that his lieutenants are dedicating restrooms facilities. The president should not be the one out there dedicating restroom facilities, my people. This is 2026. You know what I'm saying? You were denigrating the seriousness and the importance of the presidency. Can you imagine? I'm president of the Republic of Liberia. Me, Robert Garguah Jr. Then my people call me as the president. Today we're going to dedicate restroom facilities. Just because you told me that, I will suspend you immediately. You are immediate.
But Robert, did the president try the toilet if it worked?
Just because you call me and tell me that, you are calling me the whole president of the Republic.
I agree.
The whole president of the Republic.
I
got drug issue to handle.
I
got drug issue to handle.
I agree.
Job issue to handle. I got all the important things on my desk. Then my man, you who got all the things that you got to handle. You're calling me to go dedicate restroom facility just because you told me that I would direct.
I agree 100%.
I will address the country.
That's about nonsense.
Listen, guys, we gotta close. Let's go. No, Victor been closed long time. He going Kamara.
No, I will address the nation.
Abraham told me to wait, so I'm just
exactly.
I will address the nation and I will tell the nation this is not a joking government. We're not playing a government yet.
They wasn't a government, a serious government.
Do not call me the whole president of the Republic of Liberia to go and dedicate restroom facilities. Okay? If Nakar or any other government institution wants to go and dedicate any facility, let them go. Let me dedicate the national bridges. Let me dedicate important things. Don't call me to go dedicate. What I look like to go dedicate restroom facilities.
They said that he tried the toilet.
And so maybe he tried the toilet, but they didn't show us that on the radio. But so I will close on this note. These are things that we're talking about, and this should not be unique to the Unity Party government. But Mr. Ture, goes back to what we're saying. To be serious, listen. I'm younger than Joseph Burger is my grandfather. Joseph Burger, but I know if you let me president today, there are things that I just won't do. There are things that I will not do, and there are people that will not play with me, Ture. There are people who will not play with me. You don't play with me you don't play with the office like that. You can play with me off the record, but when it comes to the office of the presidency, when it comes to the office of the Senate, the representatives, there's certain things you can't do. There's certain things you should not be involved with. When it comes to the office of ministers and all of the different positions that are tainted now, the president are firing people, and they're telling us that, they just feel moral things. These are offices that should not be joked with. But the buck starts and ends with the president of the Republic of Liberia. If the president presents himself or herself as a joker, the lieutenants and the ministers will look at them and they will behave like they're dealing with a joker. If the president says, you know what, we're not serious, this is the president, we'll dedicate whatever we want to dedicate, then that's what we'll do. That's what it is. So we got to take ourselves. I take myself very seriously. And so people are not just going to play with me like that. If you play with me, I will play with you. And you will not like when I play with you. So don't play with me. So today, That person who called the president of go dedicate facility. If I was the president of the Republic of Liberia, I'll be calling Sylvester as the foreign minister or whoever position he play. And Mr. Minister, this guy must be fired or suspended tomorrow, and I'll address the country for 5 minutes, telling the country this is not a play government. And the next time anyone call me to dedicate joking business, you two will be fired.
I'm hereby launching an independent investigation into.
Hey guys,
no,
let's do this again.
Good night, guys.
One second, one second. Where you go? 1 second, 1 second. I'm launching an investigation with TCA. When people are talking, I don't interrupt them. But when I'm talking, others interrupting me.
You just interrupted me. I'm closing you.
We'll start with me. The investigation will start with me.
But Mr. calling you, Mr. Nagbe, I'm calling you shortly. If you all
see you guys Monday, guys.
Good night, my brother.
Good night, guys.